stage. Fox News can now confirm that on Monday, the House Intelligence Committee will be reviewing a report on the panel's investigation into the president. After a vote, the report will then be sent over to the House Judiciary Committee that will then consider if and how to draft articles of impeachment against the president.
President Trump has until 6 p.m. tonight to respond to an inquiry on whether he or his legal team will testify in Wednesday's hearings.
The Judiciary Committee is expected to start on Wednesday with 4 legal experts discussing whether this case rises to the level of impeachment. Republicans already are crying foul because 3 of the legal experts support impeachment and only 1 does not.
Fox's Molly Henneberg reporting. America is listening to Fox News.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
At least 5 armed civilians dead after an hour-long gun battle with Mexican security forces. The group reportedly stormed a local government office. And in Iraq, 1 protester is dead and 10 were reportedly wounded by security forces in Baghdad. Demonstrations have been ongoing ahead of a parliamentary session to accept the resignation of the prime minister. Well, starting today, minors in North Carolina accused of felonies will not be automatically tried as adults. It's the final state to make that change. Fox's Ebbett Brown with that report.
Minor children ages 16 and 17 who are charged with heinous crimes had for so often been charged as adults, bringing the full weight of criminal court proceedings and making them ineligible for rehabilitation programs offered to child offenders. That legal norm has changed over recent years, but starting today, North Carolina becomes the last state to change those policies. A change in the state law now says those teens who are charged with felonies will face juvenile court hearings unless charged with some very high-level felonies in which judges and grand juries can approve a move to adult court. Eben Brown, Fox News.
3 of those attacked in London Saturday were part of a Cambridge University program designed to connect criminology students and prisoners, the aim to reduce stigma around incarceration. Well, Cyber Monday shoppers may be thinking about a different way to ship their packages. Fox's Marcus White explains.
Security company Canary reporting numbers from YouGov, a global public opinion and data company, showing nearly 1 in 5 Americans was the victim of a porch pirate or knew someone who was last year. Because of that, 1/3 of Americans say they'll limit their online shopping significantly. Some say they plan to work from home on days they're expecting a package to arrive, and others say they'll order packages to their workplace or pick it up at a post office to prevent porch piracy.
I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
As the busy holiday season approaches, the last thing on your mind is to visit your medical provider. At American Medical Center, we put your health first. A preventative visit will ensure a healthy holiday season. Call 647-8262, and together we can address any concerns you may have and make certain all your medications are current. From our family to yours, happy holidays from American Medical Center, your partner in healthcare.
Lights, camera, fajita! Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors, featuring the new all-star cast, the grilled stuffed avocado with southwestern shrimp topped with Santa Fe sauce, cilantro, limes, and queso fresco. Or the Monterey chicken, juicy chicken breast topped with barbecue sauce, mixed cheese, bacon, diced tomatoes, and chopped green onion, all served on a sizzling skillet with warm flour tortillas. Experience bold, sizzling fajita limited-time flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here, located at the Tumon Sands Plaza, 2nd floor.
Off a day and good morning, Guam. It's 6:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Island residents who receive benefits from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, can expect some delays. This after a state of emergency was declared at Public Health following the fire at the Mangilaw facility. Public Health expects the delay could be for about 4 or 5 working days. The Public Health main office was deemed unsafe following an electrical fire last week. Officials are asking for the public's patience as they move to get all the services back in full operation. The condition of a child pulled from a hotel swimming pool this weekend isn't known this morning. The 4-year-old was swimming in the Hyatt pool on Saturday morning when he was plucked from the water. The Guam Fire Department received a report of the possible drowning at the hotel pool. When medics arrived, they found Hyatt staff initiating CPR on the boy. CPR was also conducted en route to the hospital. A 61-year-old woman injured in a robbery at a Dededo barbershop has been released from the hospital. The woman was struck by a man who entered her shop on Thanksgiving morning. The suspect, described only as having a heavy set with a dark complexion and black curly hair, he stands about 5 feet 8 inches. He was last seen fleeing on a mountain bike with the victim's bag. Police continue to seek the suspect, and they are asking the public for assistance. They say anyone with information should call the Guam Police Department or Crime Stoppers. Well, the Department of Corrections officers may have withdrawn their complaints filed with local and federal agencies, but concerns over their own safety remain, and rightly so, with a number of officers injured already. The officers had taken their concerns to the governor, asking for relief from excessively long shifts and understaffing that's placed them in danger. Officers complained that oftentimes only one guard would be forced to oversee a unit of 70 inmates. In response to a Freedom of Information inquiry, DOC stated 4 guards have been injured by inmates this year, all this while on duty. The governor met with the officers and their union representatives to reassure them that more officers would be hired, no one would work more than 16 hours a day, and everyone would get at least 1 day a week off. And the Special Operations Response Team, or SORT, would be reestablished to respond to emergencies. The governor has also expressed confidence in the direction of the new director, Frankie Shizaki. The Guam Ethics Commission is still in the process of obtaining funding, and if everything goes as planned, the commission might start receiving complaints by August 2020. Despite a nearly 2-decade-old law reestablishing the commission, this is the first time the group's been constituted. However, commissioners learned during their inaugural meeting in September that there isn't any funding. The commission has already submitted its proposed budget to the office of the governor. According to Janela Carrera, the governor's spokeswoman, the budget is under informal review, and the commission will likely be asked to submit the budget to the Legislative Appropriations Chairman as well. The fiscal year 2020, the chairman says that the commission is seeking $223,000, and this would be to start the agency, create a website, and launch a public education campaign and advertise for meetings. The commission hopes to have funding provided and begin hiring staff by January of next year. We'll have more news right after this.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Enjoy free health screenings and learn more about Take Care's 2020 health plan offerings during open season at the Micronesia Mall every Saturday through December 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us for raffle prizes and a variety of health fair activities, including massage demos, health screenings, on-site gym partners, Medicare info, health risk assessments, and much, much more. We hope to see you there. To learn more, visit TakeCareAsia.com. Take Care, the first reaccredited health plan in the region.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
The federal ban on cockfighting will take effect in a matter of weeks, which will outlaw the practice on Guam and in other U.S. territories. However, Guam senators who have also not yet held a public hearing on Senator Sabina Perez's Protecting Animal Welfare and Safety Act have effectively decided to ignore it. The legislature has determined that enforcement of the cockfighting ban must be GovGuam's lowest priority, and the governor has also stated that she would not seek to enforce the ban. The 2018 Farm Bill, enacted in December of that year, imposed a federal ban on cockfighting throughout the territories with a phase-in period of 1 year. The ban drew serious criticism from territories, including Guam and Puerto Rico, which argued there is cultural and historical significance to the practice. And while Governor Lulian Guerrero will not enforce the ban, she did meet with mayors to talk about the looming federal mandate. In the past, the mayors could seek authorization from the governor to hold cockfighting events during their village fiestas. The ban makes the local legislation moot. Dededo Mayor Melissa Savares stated her concerns that without regulated areas for cockfighting due to the ban, people would begin cockfighting in the neighborhoods. The ban to take effect on December 20th. And the capital city of Hagåtña was transformed into a Christmas wonderland. And while many island residents are enjoying the festive lights and decorations, some criticize the use of government resources to set up the display. On Friday, about 50 government employees were called to help set up the display. Governor spokesman Janela Carrera stating that certain non-critical staff were tapped to help set up the display because of the delays caused by the recent storm. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
Somebody told me I was non-critical, I'd quit. Wait a second, hold on. So what are they still doing working there if they're not critical to the mission? Just curious. 6:12 in the morning, high surf advisories in effect until noon today along north and west-facing reefs. There's a high risk of rip current through Wednesday afternoon as well. The forecast for today, partly sunny with isolated showers. We have winds from the east, 15 to 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit after sunset. Highs around 88 degrees and overnight lows should be about, highs around 88 and overnight lows about 87 degrees. I've got two sets of highs here, Mike. I've got highs around 88 and highs around 87. Which one should I go with, and what's the low going to be?
Well, you can just throw a dart at the high.
Okay, 88.
Yeah.
I'll make the lows about 78.
Yeah, just flip the
78
digits.
degrees.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds about right. 78 degrees for overnight lows here. Sunrise this morning will be at 6:28. Already purplish skies out there. Have you seen that? They're coming up purple in the downtown Upper Tumon area and even up in Jigo, where Pam Duvall has taken some nice pictures of what the sunrise is looking like at her place. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because it's just still dark, but there's a little bit of that purplish tint up in the sky that you can take a look at it. While I get the feeds up, let me see if I can squeeze in some radar imagery. It looks like we're going to have an easy ride to work this morning.
Yeah, it should be pretty nice. We had a trade wind disturbance move through overnight, dropped a little rain, so the streets are wet in spots, but not much coming upstream for us, so just a few isolated showers out there, and that's pretty much how it'll stay throughout the day today,
right?
According to the Weather Service. Flip it on over to satellite. We'll see what kind of in a clear zone. We do have a weak disturbance. That's 96W passing to our south. And that's going to cruise on past us, not really cause us much problem. Right now, all eyes are on the Philippines as Kamuri gets ready to move into portions of the Bicol region with its eventual target set on the Metro Manila area. It's had a little bit of trouble getting its act together, which is good for the Philippines. Yeah. It's not as strong as they were suspecting it was going to be. However, things are starting to come together, and it could go through some rapid intensification before it moves in. So if you got any family or friends living over in that area, and most of us do, just say a little prayer for him this morning and hope for the best.
Brace, brace, brace. 6:14 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Knowing that we have choices in medical providers locally and outside of Guam is important and reassuring. This is the reason why Calvo Select Care provides quality health care options to its members. From a wide array of local, primary, and specialty doctors and clinics to a comprehensive hospital network on island and outside of Guam, you can trust Calvo Select Care to be there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
It's 6:16 in the morning. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL. That's American President Line's global presence with a local home. And the team over at Wendy's, where they're getting ready for your breakfast. They've got these incredible local breakfast platters with eggs and rice and some kind of breakfast meat. It's meat, I tell you, for breakfast. Favorites like applewood smoked bacon and Portuguese sausage. There's country fried chicken with gravy as well. It's Wendy's breakfast platter. Now $4. It's the real deal for breakfast. It's at Wendy's. Now that's better.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Sure, I think I can work on that. Hey, welcome to the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. Thrilled as usual to be here with you and finding my way back to Monday. How about that? So we got the big week ahead of us, all kinds of big news stories to follow up. Mana Silva is going to be taking care of reading the news to us this morning from the Guam Daily Post. Among other places. How was the weekend there, Mana? Did you have a good time over the weekend?
I did.
What did
Lots
you
of
end up
stuff.
doing? What did you do?
Well, I did a little shopping. I went to a cockfight.
What'd you buy me? What'd you buy me?
I got you salt and pepper shakers from Ross. They were $3.99. I had to get it.
You know, it's every once in a while you get stumped with some people and you just don't know what to buy for Christmas. And let me give you a piece of advice. There's a couple of things you can.
Oh, I always buy you cool stuff.
Yes,
like Squatty Potty.
This is true. Mana knows about some of the things that amuse me. But if you're wondering if there might be somebody on your list and you have no idea what to buy them either something extremely religious that you're pretty sure they don't have. Because it's not like it's different than it used to be when we were growing up. Every house when we were growing up had some
the
rendition.
Jesus in a glass with
some kind of
silk
Jesus
flower.
in a glass. Or we also had the Last Supper painting, some kind of rendition of the Last Supper. You hardly see those anymore. So see if you can go find something like that, or you go like to one of the ABC stores that they have. And by the way, the ABC store that we have down here, I just discovered this the other day. Because I needed to go buy some ribs and chicken from Jamaican Grill for our get together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I wonder what else they've got. So I went down while I was waiting for the food. I went down to the ABC store, and inside you can buy Finnedenny in a bottle.
Yeah,
and it's good.
You would buy Finnedenny in a bottle.
Well, I wasn't sure what I was going to get with the Jamaican Grill, so it's always nice to have a backup. But they also had this really, really good kimchi that you can buy. I mean, it's the one where you eat it, and everybody knows later on in the day that you had kimchi for lunch.
It's
that one,
red
yeah.
top, right?
I think it's the red top. Forget the brand name. But anyway, but you go into a store like that, and they've always got these little kind of notions. They look like they're handicrafted. They're not made here, but they look like they could be, and the tourists buy them in big numbers. So you want to get the one where there's a guy in a barrel, and then you pull up the barrel, and then his. Anyway, you know where this is
yes.
going.
We had one.
Yeah. So you always buy one of those things for somebody that's hard to buy on the list because I guarantee they probably don't already have it. So just a couple of things to help make your way through the holiday. Michael Knight gets the phone when you call 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. And if you're nice to him, he'll let you go and talk all the way through to me on the actual radio. It's just part of our
you don't even
process.
have to be nice to me.
No, just go ahead. He'll answer the phone. It's part of the job. It's would you say that was a critical position? I would say the
I think
producer of the show
each
would
one
be a
of us is
critical
yeah?
position.
I think she meant to say non-essential.
Non-essential would be the...
Non-essential meaning non-emergency response, right? So, but
I don't know. There's all kinds of people, because I questioned that the other day. I was driving through. There's just so much that you can be critical with the administration about before you just sound like you're petty, right? So I'm driving through the downtown Agutna area, and I'm looking at these people in their official vehicles, and some of them are wearing official clothes. It looked like they had a bunch of the new recruits from either the fire department or the Department of Corrections or the police department. It looked like they had these recruits that were running around. I originally thought it was like ROTC kids, doing some kind of community service.
You know what? I have to say, to be
find
fair.
out more. To be fair.
In the previous administration, we were also called to assist in Christmas lights and Christmas decorations and setting up for special events.
Did you get paid?
So, yes. And so I'm going to say, just to be fair, this is not the first administration to tap into their non-critical employees to get some work done, especially, in light of the festivities that are coming up.
This says certain non-critical staff working to prepare one of the largest Christmas displays in recent memory for our community. And then it got these pictures of people. I can go back to the office and say, wait a second, what do you mean? As all these people here, do we assume that they are non-critical to the functions of government? And would it be a sin if all of a sudden somebody says, well, you're not critical?
Pardon me for
so
this
we're just going to let you go.
But aren't most GovGuam employees non-critical?
Well, see, now there you just now that just sounds just what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of pissy.
I'm glad I said it. Then, 'cause, at least I'm consistent.
Well, that's what you're supposed to.
So I think it's just a matter of verbiage.
Verbiage, yeah. So
non-essential.
If you've got some non-critical stuff that you'd like to share with me, 988-5874. That's 988-5874. There's another piece of interesting news come out on Saturday's Daily Post. Resignation pending. Jotnia Mayor Jesse Blas is writing a letter of resignation, and now this is from Saturday's news. I don't know what the update is here on Monday morning. We'll see what we can find out.
This is what I'm guessing is going to happen. He's got until like December 23rd.
When the money runs out?
Yeah, his annual leave. So he'll probably use up his annual leave and then make it effective right after that.
Right. It makes sense, but the pressure is on now for him to do something. We've already got people running around the village going to, trying to find signatures for petitions. And for heaven's sake, save them the job. Just resign. Fall on the sword. Look, if it turns out that you're innocent, if it turns out that the FBI and Laura don't have a case against you, then you can run for Speaker of the Legislature. I mean, people go, see, look, the guy was rung through the ringer and he's innocent. He had to give up his job. And oh my God, the family and then the two girlfriends found out about each other. I mean, this is a bad day for a guy, right? So just fall on the sword. And if it turns out that you're innocent, then like I said, that's oh my God, political capital on Guam. I mean, you could really that's a week's worth of free lunches from like everybody.
Yeah, as a non-resident of the village, I can only say that it just kind of shows that he's being selfish by not going ahead and resigning and let the process go ahead and take its way.
So
if he's
cringy.
Exonerated, he gets to come out in a blaze of glory and say, "See, I told you."
That's what I'm saying, right? Anyway, so we'll play around with some of those and other topics here this morning. Ran into somebody the other day and said, I love listening to you, Ray. I said, I listen to your program and I feel like I know what's going on. I said, well, you know what my opinion is of what's going on. I don't know if it's the actual truth, but it's whatever comes out in the one end of the microphone to your ear. If it makes any kind of sense, then I'm happy. Got some people I want to say good morning to, though.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Here we go. It says here, Al Bautista at number 1. So only going to be here for a week, dude. You got to swing by the radio station. Say hello before you split. John Regis is there. I see John Ray Tight to know. Nate Horn, Ismael, Mary Lou Berseman, and Pat and Norma Jean are watching the program this morning. So is Sabine Chargaloff, who says, waiting to hear what's going on and what you've got to say about it. That's spooky, isn't it? When you it was spooky to me that that you might be running around going, well, there's this topic. What's Gibson got to say about it? Woo, gives me chills. James Howard's online, and I see Tony and Nat and Pinko and Yoichi Rangil is apparently getting on a plane. Just returned from Palau. Oh, just came back from Palau at such an ungodly hour. There's got to be a better time for travel to and from Palau. Yoichi. If I was the Ayatollah of airplane rides to and from Guam, I would always make the flight to and from Palau a daytime flight. It would be a daytime flight because it's just so majestic. And I'm old enough to remember when Air Micronesia flew me and my mother in March of 1975. This is my very, very first trip to Palau, and I just absolutely smitten with the place, the people, and the environment. But one of the great things about it was we were able to fly into Palau. And into Yap, into the Yap airport during the day. And the Rock Islands. Oh, my God. It is absolutely to die for. One of the things I think, if it's there, I've missed it, but it would be awesome if there was like a daytime helicopter ride that you could take and go and visit all the other islands. There's hundreds of them. That's how you know you're getting close when you're flying in, and you can start seeing these rock islands. It's just little pebbles of green sticking out from the ocean. Absolutely beautiful. Dennis Bensour is there. Tedo and Pam Duvall. Good morning, Pam. I hope to hear from you this morning. Understand that you had made some communications last week with Will and the guys over at the EPA, and there has been some kind of response. At least there was in the media. So I wanted to hear about it from you. Keenan McCausland. Good morning. Did you see all my Yetis that you sent to me? Yes, I did. And I might get around to playing some of that video on the Facebook Live of different Yetis that we've got here in this town. I was at one of the stores in the last few days where they have a Yeti. They got the big Yeti, and I'm just not buying a big Yeti. Mm-hmm. There's just no way around it. They're too expensive, and look, I only need them on the occasional to chill, drinks and keep things in ice. I much more need.
You could get the Yeti single Yeti just for your beer. You pop it in there, and
I've got one. I think you gave me one a couple of years ago.
But
yeah,
you
so
drink
I've got
the beer faster than it needs to work. So
they've got one that'll hold 18 cans or something like that, or what Mike and I refer to as breakfast. So it'll hold, but I want to say it's like $250, $300.
They last forever.
Well, they better last forever. But the thing is that I need it to come with some kind of a locating device, because those things that will get up and walk away. I just how sticky fingers people are these days, mm-hmm. and I unless I'm physically attached to it, I know it's going to walk away, and I just hate the idea that I'd watch $250 worth of cooler walk away. Who else is playing around? James Howard's there, and Roy Burgess, Beneventi, and I see Pat and Renee Taitigui and June Bells Carino. I just like saying June Bells. Jess Mendiola is online. Jane Sasai saying good morning, Ray and Mona. And there's Valerie Lynn Maigi. That's your friend. Who else is hanging out? Ismail, heavy set, dark complexion, dark curly hair. Sounds like, oh, stop that. Sounds like the lieutenant with a wig. What a nut. I got Joseph Ngoko and Angie Franquez are online. Gabrielle Williams, nice to see you there. Sorry about the butt dial last night. Ken LG is online. We may hear from Ken at some point this morning because of all of the rabble-rousers closely associated with the Ray Gibson Show here on The Point. I understand that Ken LG actually made it to the legislature to provide some kind of testimony to them. Dave Torrey saying so. Kudos to Ken LG for providing testimony against the bill introduced to fund FestPac travel during Friday's public hearing. People are noticing. I see Mark Mendiola is there, and Pat and Norma Jean, Tommy Barcinas. Hey, cuz, nice to see you there. Jeff Pleadwell, Melissa Akimoto, Paris Blas. We'll always have Paris. You have to say that when we do her name. Erica Fast is online. Got, what's that, Ken? Ken's saying something. Yeah, it was funny. The FestPac bill hearing was the same day as the emergency funding needs for GMH. Apparently, none of the senators paid any attention to the irony and the back-to-back bill hearing. I had to leave for the family emergency, so I had to submit my testimony on the GMH bill. Interesting. There a lot of conversation in the last couple of days about Guam Memorial Hospital. There's a ER surgeon, Dr. Last, has come out with a long-ish editorial in the Guam Daily Post. And the Daily Post today now making reference to, I love this phrase, drain the GMH swamp. drain the GMH Swamp. But might riff on that a little bit later on. Kara Brock is there. Jerry Mendiola, LG, Bob Lizama. Hi, Sherry Uriarte. Nice to have you there. Doris, our running pal Doris is there. Chris Chip is online. So is Mark Cruz.
Doris just finished the Osaka Marathon.
Did she?
Yep, I saw pictures
Rowena
on Facebook.
Vega did as well.
wow.
Don't know what, but the marathon ran 27 miles. I understand. Yeah.
That's not a marathon.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at that yesterday, and like I said, my friend Rowena.
Who put in the extra?
Yeah, can you imagine? Anyway, so let me see if I can pull this up. 27.3 miles. That's what I said. She says, oh, my God, it was 27.3 miles. I gave up after 26.2, and I hit that at 4 hours and 8 minutes. Good time. I started cramping at mile 22, and my time started slowing down, but I'm glad I did better than my first. Next time I'm aiming for a sub 4, and I think that's what everybody should be aiming for. But 27.3 before they were finished with that. Wow, that's something else. Who else playing around? Mark Cruz is doing his wave. Rhea Babauta Garrido. I got Carmelian Guerrero, Mers Greeno, Vicky Ganashis Borja, Rick Leon, Ron and Cindy De La Rosa, Joette Cruz, James Vega out in Washington. Time for rain in California. And Annette Ada Vasquez, who is also in California, has just chimed in. Looks like we got a full crowd and growing today. 6:30. Well, yeah, I still got the sniffles. I know what you're thinking, Ray. It was the weekend. Did you get any rest? And I actually did. And I was feeling pretty good yesterday and decided, you know what, I need to do a whole bunch of backyard work. So I did. I went out in a couple hours in the backyard, pulling weeds and getting rid of some junk and getting things ready for the holidays. And then it started raining, and I thought I should go inside because it's raining. But I was having so much fun doing my work. I just did the work in the rain, and I think that's preventing me from getting rid of the sniffles. It's either that or maybe too much beach time or something like that. Anyway, we'll figure it all out. We got all kinds of time between here and the end of the program. A special guest. Now, I'm about 99.9% sure this is going to be happening. I got some friends in the Republican Party that have hooked me up with Doug Domenech, who is in town. The undersecretary in the Department of Interior is in town. Is going to be meeting with the governor and lieutenant governor here. Going to be meeting with the elected representatives up in Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. Also going to be participating in Operation Christmas Drop.
Wow.
Yeah, he's and I think they've already figured out where he's going to go. Otherwise, I would have given him advice on which one of these Christmas drop planes to get on, because you've done the Christmas drop, right?
Never.
You've never done it. When you
Never.
were a journalist, they never said, "Mona, you want to go
they
for
did. I
the
didn't
airplane
want
ride?"
to. No.
Oh.
I'm not really comfortable with flying in an airplane when the back is open.
Yeah, that's how they get rid of it. They open up
It's
the back
okay.
part of the airplane, and it's kind of neat. But the thing is, I mean, this is an all day ride, and so the year that I went on, I lucked into it.
What
and
if you need the bathroom?
they have a thing there.
Okay.
They open the back and you just kind of hang out over the side of the back. Yeah. It just all goes. If there's people that are listening, they've been in the military, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But you got that. But I lucked into a jump where we went on board with the general, the guy that was the general presiding over Anderson Air Force Base at the time. It was before the joint command, and so he, busy guy, had enough time to get in there and go sit up in the front with the pilots and shoot the breeze with them, and then come out, and then they got pictures of him, pushing the crate out of the airplane. That was nice. And then we turned around because it was done. His photo op time was finished. I want to say that we were in the air an hour up and an hour back, and made it back in time for shrimp and tuna sandwiches back at the base. That's the one that you want to get on, is the short one with the general or the admiral. Just if you haven't made up your mind yet. It's 6:34 and about time for our first look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's news with Mona Silva Tyron.
A 4-year-old boy was taken to the hospital this weekend after being pulled from the Hyatt swimming pool. GFD medics were called around 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon on a report of a drowning. The boy was rushed to the hospital with CPR en route. His condition this morning isn't known. Police are still asking the public to keep an eye out for a suspect involved in a morning robbery at a Dededo barber shop. A 61-year-old woman was injured and hospitalized when she was assaulted by a man who entered Bijado's barbershop in Dededo on Thanksgiving morning. He made off with her purse and got away on a mountain bike. Expect a few delays if you receive SNAP benefits. Public Health says it could be 4 to 5 days behind as they get situated following a fire at the Mangilaw facility last week during the storm. And the Guam Ethics Commission is still in the process of obtaining funding, but they expect to be ready to start hiring in January of next year. They formulated a budget, and if all goes as planned, they might be able to begin accepting complaints in August of 2020. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Pick up a copy of the Guam Daily Post or log on to their website at postguam.com.
Thanks, Mona. 6:35 is iConnect times. The holidays, and they've got some special holiday plans for you at iConnect. Find out what they are. Save yourself some money. 888-8888.
Make wish lists come true this holiday season with Coast 360. For a limited time, get 1% off your personal loan rate when you apply by December 31st, 2019. Loans up to $50,000 with flexible terms and no application fees. Apply online or at any member center. Terms and conditions apply. See print ad or Coast360FCU.com for details. May your holidays be merry and bright with Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em Contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em Contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
All right, looking at the traffic gizmo here, don't see too much that is happening right now. Not a whole lot of activity on Guam's roadways, normally just at the intersections right now. I'm seeing a little bit of traffic delayed right at that one good entrance to Teeds, and not sure what exactly is going on because it starts before you get to the intersection and continues even as you pass it. So it could be something weird happening out there. I'll have my guys keep an eye on it. 8, 10, and 16 otherwise running pretty clear this morning. 16 on to Alligator. Also, just a tiny bit busy at that intersection. And there was a little bit of busyness at the ITC building intersection. This is on the Infusion side. Not quite before you make that turn, but expect some delays at that particular intersection. 888-8255, 888-TALK. If you see something that you want us to know about, that'll be all right. We'll put that on the radio at 6:37. That's Right Now Traffic here on The Point.
Howdy, folks. I'll never forget that fateful day. I was having a lovely ride with my KFC biscuits when, boom! An easily avoidable accident resulted in a collision of flavors that became my most delicious creation yet.
New KFC Cinnabon Dessert Biscuits. Get it with every 12-piece meal. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The holiday season is here, and it gives us pause to reflect on the abundance of 2019 and to express our gratitude for Guam, the island we call home, and to all Guamanians. Our team here at Security Title is proud of the work we do to support ourselves and our families, to serve and care for our customers, and to give back to our community. May this season of joy and the new year bring happiness, good health, and prosperity to you and yours. Merry Christmas from all of us at Security Title.
Here and the shopping frenzy begins. Protect yourself with these safe shopping tips. Consider shopping only with retailers you trust or do some research on other retailers you aren't familiar with before proceeding. Don't save your credit card information on retail websites and never make payments when using public Wi-Fi. Switch to cellular data or wait until you get to a secure network to make your purchases. These safe holiday banking tips are brought to you by Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, member FDIC.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Well, let me see if I can big shot my way through this. I'm in the midst of texting. Normally, I'd be reviewing some of the news and information, but I got a call while I was doing the right now traffic, and it was Doug Domenech, the Assistant Secretary for Insular and International Affairs, who was calling at that time, checking out the phone number, and so we're going a little bit back and forth between us on when is the absolute best time to call in and say hello to all of the people listening to the live broadcast here on the Point. So now that that's taken care of, I was wondering as I was looking at the lineup here, all the different names that we've got on the Facebook Live, and I was wondering where's Troy Torres? I have not seen Troy Torres' name here yet.
I just saw him.
Troy Torres was actually he's actually not on the Facebook Live. He's actually listening to us on some kind of a stream or maybe the actual radio as he's out doing his morning constitutional. Mm-hmm. He's out doing some kind of run. He's done that before. We swing by the radio station and grab some of that really good American WaterTech water that we've got around here. But in this case, he just wanted to swing by and
show
say
off
hello.
his hot bod.
Yeah, I guess that's what that was. 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255-888-TALK. Richard Leon is online. Xavier at the League. I got Landon Adlet and Annette Adavasquez. Vincent Pareda is online. GMH Leadership. Is there such a thing? Who does the Organics Act say is responsible for the hospital? In this, you know what? I think everybody has to take turns running the hospital. I think that we're just going to do it like the draft. Everybody will have their name in, and we'll pull somebody's name out and say, okay, you're in charge of Guam Memorial Hospital for the week. Try not to screw it up, would you? 888-8255 is the telephone number. And as I said, one of the things that stuck in my head was Friday. Of course, they had the public hearing, and it's still tricky how that happened on what would have normally been a holiday. But they must have known from a long time ago that it was not going to be a GovGuam holiday, et cetera, et cetera. At any rate, they had it. And as far as I know, is like the only guy that provided any kind of dissenting remarks was the other Governor Leon Guerrero. That would be Ken LG. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
How you doing there?
I am doing good. And it was so funny as I was looking at the schedule on the bills, at 9:30, 9 o'clock a.m., they had the testimony on the FestPac junket field trip for loyal nose pickers. And then on the other one, to appropriate money that doesn't exist for capital improvement projects at Guam Memorial Hospital. And as I was looking at this lineup, I thought, why don't we just draw an X through this one and draw an arrow to this one,
right,
and solve a major problem at the hospital?
Because that means that nobody would be able to go to the FestPac party.
I know. I feel kind of bad about that because, remember, the whole intent of this is to sponsor, develop, and encourage local artists. And what better way to sponsor and develop local artists than put actual cash in their pocket by creating a venue where they could go and display their work so that local people can come and look at their work without having to wait for a special event at a car dealership, which is the only public galleries we see now. And then it's themed, we have the left-handed women's event at Cars Plus that will be on a Friday night from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then we'll have the children from whose last names begin with Z and the first names begin with A over at Nissan on Saturday from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Those
You've overthought this.
Venues local artists get.
Yeah, well, no, there's others. They got the thing over at Pirates Cove around the holidays. And trying to remember what some of the other one was, where they had a thing at Roots. There was one over at just a couple of weeks back up at Top of the Mar.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are ample opportunities. So did you see what they were budgeting for? What kind of money they'd had set aside?
Well, now the budget is down to $330,000 for the gold-plated nose pickers. It's a big surprise. I mean, when they're testifying, the entire thing is this is going to be a one-time only event. This kind of snuck up on us. We weren't prepared. They've known for 4 years. In fact, we're still paying off the debt from the last fest.
Probably, yeah.
And at every hearing, they say, where are we on the payments from the last FestPac? And the answer is always the same. We're still putting that information together, Senator.
Yeah. But it's some of the costs are kind of interesting here. We would be buying all of the uniforms. First of all, fabric design and purchase is going to be $10,000. Official T-shirts will be $5,000. Now I don't know that they've got other FestPack T-shirts that they're going to sell and try to make $20,000.
I think they got a bunch left over.
Yeah, $15,000 for performing groups and their accessories. There's going to be a VIP reception to include heads of state, delegations, host dignitaries, and the Guam delegation. They want to spend $10,000 on a VIP reception plus gifts for $1,000. Yeah. There will be a culinary demonstrations that they got $1,000 in. $15,000 for shipping a 20-foot container.
But you see, all that is well and good, but it doesn't stimulate the local starving artists here looking for venues where they can. You remember the Shell in Waikiki Shell every Sunday from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Now, you mentioned that last week. Yeah, they could just roll and do that on Thursday nights with with the food truck thing. Technical production. I like this. $36,000 for a vignette up to 3 minutes, live stream video of showcase performances in Hawaii, and one commercial for the showcase. It's $36,000 that they want to spend on video and being able to backhaul it to Guam. Trust me, guys, it ain't going to cost you $36,000 to stream video from Hawaii to Guam. You just need a good internet connection, and basically you could do this. You could do that on an iPad anymore. You don't need to have. I'm looking at that going. I'm wondering which one of my buddies in the communications business, in the agency business, is going to get that $36,000 contract. Whoever it is, you're buying me lunch.
Yeah, I was remembering at the Leon Guerrero Tenorio kickoff at Epau Beach when they had that big, huge multimedia presentation and 1,000 chairs out there, and only about 200 people showed. So.
James Howard online saying people lying on the floor at GMH in emergency room, and we're spending millions on FestPack. Outstanding. Well, it's not millions. It's just a lot of thousands is the thing. So I just think that's kind of interesting. 888-825-5888-TA. Okay. So let's move into the GMH conversation. Got one emergency room doctor that has decided that he is going to be coming out and calling for a probe of Guam Memorial Hospital. Wants none less than the FBI to conduct this probe because he doesn't think they're doing right with federal dollars.
I agree with you, and as you know, I've been on this horse for years now at Guam Memorial, and it started when my mother-in-law was in the emergency room, and that doctor came up, and he was very, very apologetic.
Yep.
And, I mean, he came up to me and said, "Mr. Leon Guerrero, I don't know how to say this, but I just have to say it. The medicine your mother-in-law needs to stop her pain, we do not have here in our pharmacy. And I'm writing you a prescription. If you go down the street to Mega Drugs, you can pick up the pain medicine she needs right there and get it back to us, and we'll see to it that we can relieve her pain."
I recall a similar situation when my mother was in the hospital a few years ago, and the doctor made a prescription for her to try something. We said, "Okay, well, where do we get this?" Guys, you don't get it here at the hospital. We don't have that one either. And it was the same thing. Write the script, and somebody got to go down the street. Usually, Mana going down the street to get it from Mega Drugs, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, see, that's the stupidity of this entire situation, because an emergency room deals with a lot of people in pain, car wrecks, accidents, things like that. You would think that the emergency room would be well stocked on pain medications. But instead of stocking up on pain medications, they send a doctor to London for an all-expense-paid vacation at the cost of $100,000 to take a seminar she could have taken online for $899.
Right, but I mean, among other things, if you take a look at today's Guam Daily Post in the forum section, independent investigators need to drain GMH swamp, and it goes through the points that were made most recently by Dr. Last, but also conversations with Dr. Kozue Shimabukuro, who was in there, Nicole Denraj, Jerome Landstrom, Nordstrom, Sam Friedman, and others are quoted in this editorial that they have, agreeing with Dr. Last that we've got to drain the GMH swamp. Then you've got a letter to the editor on the opposite page from Dr. Vince Tyron, who's Tyron Akimoto, who he says, we suffer while GovGuam wastes our money. And so I think everybody in the medical community kind of on the same page with what needs to get done over at Guam Memorial Hospital. But FESPAC's got to come first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was evident in the hearing right there. All the senators, going down on one knee, pledging loyalty to the FESPAC committee, and making sure that they're going to get the money they need to make sure that those people get over there and get their 3 minutes of fame on the live stream.
Oh, I just thought that was. I was watching a few minutes of it, and it was as though they were talking about the most important thing in the whole wide world, and trying to make the points that they needed to make about. Well, a lot of these figures are just estimates. We have to have some kind of a working budget in place, but we won't know until we actually finalize the deals with the shipping companies and the airlines and things like that. But just putting some numbers down on paper. 10 away from the top of the hour. I'm going to let you run.
Well, just one more observation. Every one of them testified how we're doing this for the children. But, we're not sending the children to FESPAC. We're sending politically well-connected insiders who were willing to unfold chairs and hold campaign signs.
I think that's the same bunch of people they had working on Skinner Plaza.
Yeah. Well, I will be listening.
I know you will, buddy. 6:51. It's the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. Ray Gibson in the studio. Like I said, Montesilva Tyron's over there. I got Michael Knight slaving over a hot telephone and doing whatever it is that he does out here. And then there's a table of contents. I've gotten out of the habit for some reason, and maybe it's just with the change in the people I sit with here. I've just gotten out of the habit of looking over the table of contents. As the show is kind of getting started. Welcome to Cyber Monday, they say. We had Black Friday over the weekend. Did you get any shopping in on Black Friday? I passed by a few places and saw the size of the crowd at the parking lot. Home Depot is one of my go-to places. There's nobody that I need to buy things for that will not be satisfied with something that I got from them for them over at Home Depot. And so I was thinking maybe, Friday, as I was leaving the office after everything was done, I was thinking maybe I'll just swing by Home Depot and maybe get, a head start on some of that shopping.
Is this Friday? You went on Friday?
I went Friday. Well, I passed by Friday. I never made the turn. As soon as I got onto, and I knew it was happening even while I was still on Marine Corps Drive, because I was looking at traffic, headed up towards the airport, and it was already crowded, moving in that direction, and people are already bridging the intersection, and I thought, well, this is not going to be pretty. And sure enough, I get into the line of traffic, and it goes slow right up until you get to the old hotel, and then you look over in what is normally the vast expanse of the Home Depot parking lot, and it's very common on most days of the week. We've got a bunch of cars parked over here, and a little bit of a lineup over there by the front, and maybe a little bit of a lineup from the people that need to go on the contractor side. But in this case, it was jam packed from around where they sell the Christmas trees at all the way to the front, all the way to the some of that pretend heavy equipment in the front. And I said, well, I guess I'm coming back later. It might be one of those smart things, Home Depot people, maybe part of the idea of 24-hour shopping days between here and Christmas, just for people like me. So yeah, it's one of those kinds of things where we're exploring the idea that, oh my God, it's Christmas shopping season. Do you realize today is the 2nd of December already?
Yep.
I mean, where did 2019 go? Literally, it was.
Too fast.
Didn't we just have New Year's celebration? Wasn't it just Valentine's and back to school? And now here we are talking about the beginning of the holiday shopping crunch. Crazy. 6:53 in the morning. And there's a story here. Might require a little bit more than the time that we've got to talk about it. Simon's on the line, and there's a story I was reading about how the Guam Power Authority wants to revert. It helped me with this now, changing the net metering policy, reverting it to what it was, where you're not allowed to have credits that roll over. Si, good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Beautiful weekend this weekend. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Grill marks in exactly the right places. I went out and got grill marks on Saturday and liked it so much I went back out and got some more yesterday.
Yeah, no, perfect. So, yeah, actually, two things were discussed by the GPA management and the CCU that will possibly affect net metering. The one you're referring to has to do with, in most communities, they ask, solar customers provide us energy, we provide them energy, and then if they provide us more than we provide them, then there's a net gain to them, and we pay them for that. But in many communities, they require you to use up the credits that accumulate over a 12-month period to use them within that same 1-year period. They don't allow you to bank it and move it forward into future years. And the PUC asked us to change that policy 3 years ago. Management didn't like it, but we stayed with it. But now that we've documented the kind of the cost impacts, we're asking that we go back to the policy where if you get net metering credits to your good, if you're one of the net metering customers, then you have to take the credit in the current year. You can't build it up. And part of that is what utilities have learned. If people know they can bank it, many of them oversize their system. They make more energy than their house needs, and then they try to sell you the extra energy at a price that's much higher than GPA, for example, would make its own energy.
Right.
And, we'll buy the energy that you create for your house, but if you want to create more than that, then you shouldn't be able to bank it into future years because other ratepayers are paying for this credit. And right now it's a 1-for-1 credit. And as you know, there's an argument about whether it should be a full credit because GPA is the battery for everyone that is currently
when the sun goes down.
And GPA is buying a $40 million battery that other ratepayers are paying for, and yet net metering ratepayers benefit from it. So one way they're saying is at least you can design your system to provide what you need, but you can't oversize it. Many communities have gone back to that policy, so GPA is asking the PUC to revisit that. But you'll still get net metering, but you got to use all the credits in the same year that you would generate them.
Was there not a conversation? I kind of lost the string on it now that I'm thinking about it. But was there not a conversation over at the PUC on what the net metering was going to end up being? Was, as you said, it was now it's kind of 1-to-1, but didn't they break it down and say, well, just the avoided cost then, and then identify the avoided costs?
Well, again, that's where there's a healthy debate, and the PUC didn't want to make a change, but they asked us to do a study to verify kind of the true impacts, and John B. continues to argue that it's $3-4 million being paid by other ratepayers to net metering. And they save us the fuel. There's no argument about that. The argument is, do they save you anything else? And especially when we act as their battery, we know batteries will cost $10,000 to $20,000 if you were to put your own battery and get off the grid.
Yeah.
But right now you get that service from other GPA ratepayers for free, and that's the balancing act. That's where the argument breaks out. That solar proponents will say, no, the environment is cleaner. There's some savings for this and that. The utilities are saying, well, the environment may be cleaner, but we're still buying a $40 million battery. We're still paying $3.4 million from other ratepayers, and you're not paying for any of that.
Right.
If you had to get your own batteries, you would definitely be spending more than you would be paying with GPA. So that debate, though, is a second piece, and we asked. And John B. had recommended something, and we've asked that he not implement it, that we go out to the community. We want to talk to stakeholders because John wants to follow a practice that we're seeing in more and more places, that now any new system has to come with a battery. That way you kind of pay for your own. Now you don't need GPA to be your battery. You pay for your own battery, but you'll incur the cost, and you'll recognize what that is. But that from now on, all new systems will have to have a battery. John wanted to implement that January 1st. We said, no, too fast. Talk to stakeholders, see Bill Hagan, see Jim Colo, see the folks, there's, all the providers, see the folks that are already, everyone that currently is on net metering will be grandfathered. But every new hookup will have to come with a battery. We want more community feedback, so we asked John to delay that and have a series of public hearings, which he said he'll do in January. And then we'll revisit that. So we did not change that policy. We're still doing a study to see whether net metering should be changed. But this other piece is that we're going to not allow you to accumulate.
Right. You don't want to carry the credit forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Yeah.
And then what happens when somebody's got 2 or 3 years worth of a credit built up?
Right. And then people will start over-designing the system. And if we weren't paying them 1-for-1, we might revisit that. But when we're paying for extra energy when we can make it cheaper. That's where the argument gets.
Concur. 7 o'clock in the morning. Always interesting to watch this net metering battle go back and forth, because it's something that you and I've been talking about since these solar players started popping up around here.
Yeah. All good discussions. All important to get it right. And there's healthy debate as we continue to add more solar. You're still trying to get what's the fairest way to bring it in and compensate both those with solar and those without solar that are supporting those with solar.
I'm going to let you get back to the laundry business. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Si.
I just watched the end of the Baltimore Niner game. Very good game.
Did Baltimore Niners? I haven't looked at that yet. We'll talk about that as we get closer to sports. I'll see you soon. That's Simon Sanchez from the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Yeah, let me get a refresh on that and see where these early games are starting to finish up at. So far, I'm four victories in the football pick'ems. We'll talk about that in the next hour of the program. It's 7 a.m. Stand by now for Fox News Live. KUSG got you. This is The Point.
An impeachment inquiry deadline in 2 hours for President Trump. I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News. The president and his legal team have until 6 p.m. today to say whether they will participate in an impeachment hearing on Wednesday. Fox's Gernal Scott.
Ranking member Doug Collins says he believes the Democrats are trying to run impeachment through before the people vote in 2020.
Even if they support an impeachment inquiry or even trying to remove and overturn the votes of these 63 million people for this president, they don't think this is fair. And I've talked to Democrats who do not believe this is fair.
Judiciary Committee Democrat Hakeem Jeffries says even as some polling shows a decline in demand for impeachment, Congress has a job to do.
Follow the facts, apply the law, be guided by the U.S. Constitution, and present the truth to the American people, no matter where it leads.
Both men on Fox News Sunday. Witnesses will appear before the Judiciary Committee starting Wednesday.
Meantime,
Scott, Fox News.
Republican Senator John Kennedy now admits he was wrong to tell Fox's Chris Wallace that Ukraine could have been responsible for the 2016 election interference. He spoke on NBC's Meet the Press.
I thought he had asked me if Ukraine had meddled in the 2016 election. He didn't. He asked me if Ukraine was responsible for hacking the DNC computer.
The U.S. intelligence community has debunked the theory that Ukraine hacked the Democratic National Committee in 2016, saying it was Russia alone. A slow return from the holiday for millions of Americans. Airlines have delayed more than 5,000 flights and canceled more than 800. And it's headed now to the Northeast.
This is the storm, really large storm, bringing snow across areas of the north. We've got the tail end of the front moving across parts of southern Georgia, throughout South Carolina and North Carolina right now, about to move offshore. But then we have the snowy side right now across areas of Wisconsin and in towards Michigan. And now it's beginning to move in towards the Northeast.
That's Fox's chief meteorologist, Rick Reichmuth. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Hop a day. This is Melanie Mendiola.
And this is Ricky Hernandez. We're with the Guam Economic Development Authority.
And we're both alumni of the University of Guam. We're calling on our fellow alumni to make an investment in Guam's future by contributing to the G is for Giving campaign. With your donation, you are giving more students the opportunity to graduate, making Guam a better place.
To make a tax-deductible donation, log on to give.uog.edu before December 31st or call 735-2957 for more information.
Viva UOG!
The holiday shopping season may be 6 days shorter due to a late Thanksgiving, but it is not slowing down the online buying. Fox's Ann Carrick has the numbers.
Consumers did some record-breaking shopping online on both Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday, dropping a whopping $11.6 billion. E-commerce behemoths and smaller retailers both seeing an increase in online sales. Experts say the shopping is not done. Consumers are expected to spend even more on Cyber Monday, possibly setting a new record with an estimated $9.4 billion in sales, up 18.9% from last year. Ann Carrick, Fox News.
And mom and pop stores also making out with top sales on Small Business Saturday. Adobe Analytics says shoppers spent $3.6 billion buying online alone. That means nearly half of all small business purchases were made on a smartphone. Saturday's top-selling products included toys from Disney's Frozen 2, Madden 20, and FIFA 20 video games, Amazon's Fire TV, and Apple AirPods. Wisconsin's winter weather is bringing up questions about a unique ordinance. We've got Fox's Marcus White with that story.
The city of Wausau has a law in its book saying you can't throw snowballs at someone standing on public property. Mayor Robert Milkey says the law is there in the interest of public safety. Reports said violators could be fined $114. Local media says it's unclear if the anti-snowball rule has been enforced. 6 other Wisconsin municipalities have similar snowball bans. Marcus White, Fox News.
And America is listening to Fox News.
Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Attention federal employees and annuitants. Open season is running now through December 9 for FEHB plans. Voted PICA's best again for 2019, Take Care delivers comprehensive insurance coverage and quality health care when and where it's needed most. Take Care's popular supplemental wellness package provides cash incentives and gives members a choice of 19 fitness partners, including Paradise Fitness Center. To learn more, visit TakeCareAsia.com. Take Care, the first reaccredited health plan in the region.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger licking good.
Off day and good morning, Guam. It's 7:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron, and here are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A 4-year-old boy was taken to the hospital this weekend after being pulled from the Hyatt swimming pool on Saturday. The Guam Fire Department received a report at 2 p.m. of a possible drowning at the hotel pool. When medics arrived, they found Hyatt staff initiating CPR on the boy. CPR was also conducted en route to the hospital. The boy's condition isn't known this morning. The Mayor's Council of Guam is aware that Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas has considered resigning from his position. He continues to be held behind bars in a federal case. Council Executive Director Angel Sablan, who continues to suggest that the Jotnya Mayor resign, said that he's been in contact with Blas's girlfriend about his plans. The mayor waiting for advice from his attorney. Defense attorney Joe Rosano has not commented on the mayor's plans. Blas awaits trial following a federal indictment on extortion and bribery charges. He's alleged to have participated in a drug operation in his village, allowing drug dealers to use cluster mailboxes overseen by the mayor's office. It was just last week the Election Commission approved a petition by Jotnya resident Francisco Heaton to remove Blas from office. Heaton must now collect at least 981 signatures from registered voters in Jotnya before he hands over the petitions to the commission, which must then vet the signatures. The petitions also have to be approved by the Guam legislature before the election commission can begin plans for a recall election and then another special election for the position. Meanwhile, mayors are pleading for residents to look after one another, particularly in a time when the police department is short-staffed, following an incident in which a 2-year-old child reportedly walked into traffic on Chalon San Antonio in Tamuning. A Facebook post explains how a driver in the busy Tamuning thoroughfare was able to stop his vehicle just before hitting the child, whose family lives in a nearby apartment. A second driver who witnessed the incident stopped his vehicle to pull the toddler off the road as the first driver called police. The child's grandfather appeared and said that he was watching the child but couldn't keep up with the child as he ran into the road. According to the Facebook post, the Guam Police Department didn't send an officer, and the officer on the phone told the driver there was nothing they could do. Tamuning Mayor Luis Rivera says the 2-year-old lives in an apartment complex where other families live. This and similar issues have been brought up in village meetings with Senator Jim Moylan. And in fact, the Dededo will host the next meeting. That will be on December 12th. Senator Moylan says the issue of holding parents accountable for children was consistently echoed at previous village meetings that were held. He continues to urge the governor to consider some of his proposed bills that would address public safety concerns throughout the island. We'll have more news right after this.
Hey, what's that?
A Subway Big Hot Pastrami?
My big hot pastrami?
No, my Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Get your own.
Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked sunflower crunch bread, topped with pickles and mustard. Finish off your meal with all new seasoned potato wedges, baked to perfection right in the restaurant. Both available for a limited time only. Subway, make it what you want.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
It was just last week an elderly woman was assaulted and robbed in Dededo. The 61-year-old woman was at Bejado's barber shop when a man entered into the shop and struck her from behind. This happened on Thanksgiving morning. The suspect is only described as being heavy-set with a dark complexion, black curly hair, and standing about 5 feet 8 inches tall. He was seen fleeing on a mountain bike with the victim's purse. Police continued to seek the suspect, and they ask anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers or the Guam Police Department. The Guam Ethics Commission is still in the process of obtaining funding, and if everything goes as planned, the commission might start receiving complaints by August of next year. Despite a nearly 2 decades-old law reestablishing the commission, this is the first time the group has been constituted. However, the commissioners learned during an inaugural meeting in September that there isn't any funding. The commission has already submitted its proposed budget to the Office of the Governor. According to spokesman Janela Carrera, the budget is under informal review, and the commission will likely be asked to submit the budget to the Legislative Appropriations Committee. For fiscal year 2020, the commission is asking for $223,000, and this would be to allow them to start the agency and create a website, launch a public education campaign, and advertise for meeting. The commission hopes to have the funding approved and begin hiring staff by January of next year. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
Let me see. Weather. Partly sunny skies, isolated showers. Winds out of the east up to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit after sunset. Highs about 88 degrees and overnight lows cooler 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 5:51. Tell the others. Sunrise this morning was at 6:28. We'll see about the same time tomorrow. There's a high surf advisory in effect until noon along north and west facing reefs and a high risk of rip currents through Wednesday afternoon. And is that just the trade winds, or is that left over from last week's storm, or is it coming attractions for 96W Invest? Pick one.
The north and west swell, which is ending at noon, that's actually from Kamuri. Anything on the east side is just from trade wind fetch.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's, kind of a semi-permanent thing this time of year because the trade winds really pick up about now. And it looks like we're going to get another dose of them coming in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Looking at SAD radar right now, we've got just a few isolated showers down there and a mainly easterly flow. That shows you trade winds are back. And those showers down there are associated with a weak tropical disturbance, which is passing by very far to the south. Won't get nearly as close to us as the last one did, so we won't see nearly as much rain or anything else from it. Switching to satellite real quick, we'll see that disturbance, that clump of blobage down there to our south-southeast. It's going to slide on by over the next 24 hours or so and go bother somebody else in the next day or so. Looking over there to the left, we see a big blob of hate. That is tropical, I should say Typhoon Kamuri. which is outer rain bands, is just now starting to affect the Bicol region of the Philippines, and they are hunkering down there in Bicol and in southern Luzon and even the great metro of Manila as they get ready for a typhoon to come through. It'll be the first near direct hit of a typhoon since Glenda in 2014, so they've actually gotten by a few years without having to deal with anything. Looks like that's about to change, but it kind of a mix of good news, bad news, because they really need the water. They need the water, especially in the Laguna de Bay, because they tried to augment their water situation there and actually wound up causing a bigger problem by tapping into the Laguna for as a water source. Maybe this will help them straighten that out.
Gotcha. 7:14 in the morning. News and plenty of weather together here on The Point.
Lights, camera, fajita! Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors, featuring the new all-star cast, the grilled stuffed avocado with southwestern shrimp topped with Santa Fe sauce, cilantro, limes, and queso fresco. Or the Monterey chicken, juicy chicken breast topped with barbecue sauce, mixed cheese, bacon, diced tomatoes, and chopped green onion. All served on a sizzling skillet with warm flour tortillas. Experience bold, sizzling fajita limited-time flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here. Located at the Tumon Sands Plaza, 2nd floor.
It's the Ray Gibson Show, being brought to you by American President Lines, APL Global Presence, and a local home. Guys over at American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water, and Guam Regional Medical City, the first stop in all of your specialty care needs.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Oh my gosh, Baltimore beats San Francisco 20-17. What happened there? San Francisco 49ers. Somewhere Dave Torrey is biting through a piece of 2x4. Right now, he's got it in his mouth. He's just biting clean through it.
Yeah, and I had changed my pick to San Francisco last week, and I decided to stick with it because I figured defense would beat the offense. But in this case, looks like that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens had just enough offense to get that last field goal in and win the game. Might have very well seen the Super Bowl preview in that game. Yeah. No, both these teams clearly San Francisco the best in the NFC, and there's an argument to be made for the Ravens being the best in the AFC, and they already beat the Patriots. So, yeah, that could very well have been a Super Bowl preview.
Interesting. Still waiting on the outcomes of a couple more games. Just about everybody in the fourth quarter of the early games, and it looks like they're all finished up. And Cincinnati is the winner against the New York Jets, 22-6.
Yeah, that's one I changed this weekend.
Yeah,
because the Jets have just been having real problems, and even crappy teams are going to win one sooner or later. And I thought if the Cincinnati Bengals were going to win a game, it would be against the Jets.
So this is literally the first game though that Cincinnati has won this season.
Yeah,
against the New York Jets. I figured the game was going to be a dumpster fire anyway, but I went with the Jets. They just had better numbers attached to them. Indianapolis and Tennessee. Tennessee wins that one 31-17 against Indianapolis.
Yeah, went completely against what I thought.
Exactly,
I
right?
really thought Indianapolis was a much better team than Tennessee, but not this day.
Doesn't look like Philadelphia is going to win against Miami, which sucks because I picked Philadelphia to beat Miami.
And this is another pick that I switched this weekend because of some things that I had read online about players and situations that were going on with the teams, and I just felt like Miami would have a better chance of winning this game, and sure enough, they're right now 11 better with only 3.5 left in the game.
Yeah, I called Green Bay and New York right, and I called Pittsburgh and Cleveland right, so I'm 5 now with a bunch of games in and reported already. I've only got 5 clean victories on my side of the pick, so I think this is going to be a lousy week for me.
One surprise, dude. This Washington-Carolina game. Can you believe it? Washington 29, Carolina 14. I actually went on ahead and I changed that. I picked Carolina because I was like, they got to be better than Washington. But
no. Skins are 29-14. You're right. As I said, lots of dumpster fires going on in the NFL. We'll talk about that in the next hour of the program. In about 15 minutes or so, we'll be hearing from the Assistant Secretary of the Insular Affairs, is Doug Domenech. I'm gonna say his name wrong until he corrects me. I think I've got it right though. Domenech, like Etch-a-Sketch, as they tell me how to pronounce his name. So he's going to be on the phone. We'll be talking about World Heritage opportunities for Guam, and then one of the other things that he gets to do while he's out here is the Operation Christmas Drop. You've been on one of those before, haven't you?
Not get a chance to go on.
Am I like the only guy in the radio business that has gone on one of those flyouts?
From what I see, yeah.
Yeah, apparently. All right. Well,
It
was like I said, it was a good time. It was a short time, and we went up to run up a couple of the islands to the north, and dropped off a couple of things to. I was going to say the natives that live down there, but basically Saipanese that live in some of the other North Islands of the CNMI, and they come running out and they get the box and they go back into boondocks, and that's all you see for an hour. But it was nice. I got to say, it was nice to fly over some of these islands up in the chain up north, where you see them on a map, but you just have no idea the pristine beauty of some of these
But
islands.
how low do you go? Are you dropping the packages from 30,000 feet?
No. You maybe 500 feet. Yeah,
a couple thousand.
Yeah, it ain't that high up. I mean, it's got to get some catch for the parachute to open up, but otherwise, you don't drop it from way up high. Otherwise, it'll come crashing down to the ground really, really hard and fast. 7:19 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio for the Extra Point. A couple of businessy things for you. Guam Chamber is hosting an economic forum that's going to be taking place this Friday. It's the Guam Economic Forecast for 2020 will take place on December the 6th. They've highlighted some of Guam's biggest economic thinkers, including Gary Hiles from the Department of Labor, Cisco Hutapea, president of Cornerstone Valuation, and James Martinez, president of the Guam Contractors Association. David John is also going to be there moderating the panel between the three of those guys, and between the three of them ought to be able to give you an idea of where they think things might be going in 2020. I mean, the big linchpin in my mind is labor and getting people on these huge construction jobs that have been waiting for a long time to get started. There's jobs that DPW has let out and gone for RFPs and IFPs and can't get anything going because none of the construction companies got enough labor to do whatever it is that they're doing on base or finishing up the Tsubaki Towers and do this DPW. Just don't have the guys.
Yeah.
So once that happens, if we manage to get our hands on a bunch of guys that can do all of that stuff, I think you will see that there's a whole lot of pent-up spend that could be circulating around.
Because once we get the guys to do those big projects, in the other hours they'll be off base doing other kinds of projects. On the side.
Keep waiting for some of those side hustle guys to start making their presence known. But it seems to me like we've got two sets of guys that can work, because there are still, obviously, there's construction that's happening on the base. There's construction over at Tsubaki Towers and a few other places. But I'm starting to see, in my neighborhood, there's a lot of people that are kind of rejuvenating their homes. Hopefully, I think with the idea that they're going to rent them out to military families or something like that. So we're seeing a whole lot of conversions and a whole lot of fences going up and things like that. But there's no shortage of those guys that can do some of that, a little bit more than handyman projects around. So, we need a whole bunch of, I guess, this middle earth kind of contracting guys.
We need housing developments done.
Yeah,
a bunch of them.
Well, they're going to build them. They're going to be the most expensive things that get built on Guam. You know that, right?
Yeah.
It's not like nobody's building homes for $600 or $700 a month rentals. Everybody's building to the $2,500 a month rentals and hoping that sweet spot comes through.
Yep.
Anyway, so it's going to take place at the Somnak Ballroom at the Western Resort Guam, starting at 8:30. It'll be done by 11 because. Well, you only got the three people there and David John, and I think it's going to be kind of a focused conversation. Doesn't sound like there's going to be too many opportunities to break out and go have lunch or cocktails or anything like that.
But those people know what they're talking about.
Oh, it is. Siska's one of the original valuators around here, and I think that's one of the other things that she's going to be able to talk to is the additional costs of being able to make these investments into your properties. You got to be careful. Get them invested over $1 million, and all of a sudden you're a target for Daphne Shimizu over the Department of Revenue and Taxation for some additional dough on that side. Let's take a look at what happened on the market, shall we, and where it ended up on Friday. The numbers up. Oh, no, they're all down. Everybody closed backwards. The S&P 500 off by 12 points, 3140. NASDAQ at 8665. They closed 40 points lower. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average still over 28,000, but they closed 112 points off. So it's 28,051 points. FTSE is in the red by 69, almost 70 points, 73.46. The Nikkei at 23,293. They're off by 115 points. Hang Seng Index, huge swing, 26,346. They lost almost 550 points in weekend trade. Shanghai index is also off by 17 points. They closed at 28.71. The DAX at 13,236. They're off by about 9.2 shares here. So what have we got? What are the other commodities I like to look at? West Texas crude. Last week was trading up as high as $58.24, now down to $55.17. $3.07 a barrel difference in favor of the consumer, if you ask me. I mean, that's nice. Tapa is not so good, but not so bad either. 69.19 when we looked at it on Friday, 69.39. So it picked up 20 cents worth of value. I am according to the gizmo in the car, I am at I have 20 more miles I can drive. But it tells me, it not only says you're low on gas, it'll tell you about how far the car thinks you can go on what's left in the tank.
And do you trust the car? Or do you try to squeeze a couple extra miles out?
I try to be pretty close to the gas station when it gets around zero. When I watch it, when it starts telling me that my range is like 5 or 4 or 3, and I start thinking, okay, there's a mobile there, there's a mobile there, I got a Shell there, a 76 behind me. I'm in good shape. Should be able to limp into one of these spots.
Yeah, should never really let your tank get below a quarter tank, because to do so then helps.
You're not my father.
Yeah, it puts dirt in your fuel filter.
I've heard that.
No, it does.
It does. So what is it? Quarter tank?
About a quarter tank.
Why,
Yeah,
why won't it get in there at levels above a quarter tank?
Well, for some reason, when you're up above a quarter tank, it's not able to get into the system because the nozzle is not at the bottom. It's at about just a little ways up. So when you're at a quarter tank, the sediment is still settling in the bottom, but once it gets below that, it has to pull up from whatever you've got, and you'll get sediment that's gathering in the bottom in those.
But it goes into the filter, right?
Amounts. It does, but it blocks your filter much faster.
I guess. All right. Now I've heard that
you
before.
You ever changed one before?
What's that? The
fuel
filter?
Yeah.
Not since I drove, and Jerry will remember, not since I drove a 1972 Plymouth Satellite.
Oh, see, that was different. See, that had the inline filter there that was right next to the carburetor.
Yeah,
now they put them all on the gas tank.
Yeah, a lot easier back in those days. 720, but we refer to that as the analog car, not like the ones that we've got now. It's a totally digital car, and I take it in for service, and the guy, first thing he does, opens up the front of the car, and he jacks into this thing in the car, which tells him what all the vital statistics are in the car. Have you ever gotten one of those things? You can buy them. You can buy them yourself. And then they hook up to an app that you look at, and it'll tell you, how hot the engine is running, what kind of, things that are happening in there.
No,
never
done that.
They have that. You can buy it. It's a Home Depot. No, if you want to buy Jerry something for Christmas, that's what he needs. It's one of those things. So that he can plug it into the car and obsess about that, too. 7:26 in the morning. I think that's all the time that I've got to yak on my stuff.
Before we go to
the extra point. Yeah.
Let me just clarify one thing for the benefit of my friend Catherine Cruz. It will not be San Francisco in the Super Bowl this year against the Ravens. It'll be Seattle. And the reason is because Seattle right now is a couple of points ahead of San Francisco because they both have 2 losses, but they beat the Niners in San Francisco.
That's right.
So what's going to happen is they go to New Orleans, will host San Francisco next week, and then the Seahawks get them on the final day of the season in Seattle.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So chances are the Niners will be a wild card team. They'll be in the playoffs.
Right, yeah.
But they'll be a wild card team. And Seattle will be representing them in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Seattle and the Ravens, you'll have the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, which will be Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson.
Right.
Both the same kind. Scrambling, running quarterbacks with great arms and all. That's what's going to happen.
Gotcha. Right. Joey Charfers is online. He's got the thumbs up. Smug Wimp is there. Commissioner Roy Gamboa is back. And Carlos Barreto is online. Lady D says, go Eagles, go Eagles, go Eagles. And Keena's happy because the Houdat played on Thanksgiving Day. 7:27 now, the extra point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
No offense to Niners fans. It's just the way it's going to be. Sorry. Do you have a lot of appointments and meetings on your calendar for this week? Is it going to be busy? Would you like to have just one more? What if I told you it would be the most important appointment you kept all week long? Today, some advice from a former U.S. Secretary of State on making such an appointment. That's coming next on The Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
A homeowner's policy protects much more than just your house. It also protects you against claims from someone being hurt on your property. If a visitor is injured at your place, how much are you covered for? The smart thing to do is get the answer today.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
George Shultz served as the 60th U.S. Secretary of State for 6.5 years under Ronald Reagan. He has been an advisor to presidents and other world leaders, in addition to leaders in business, for decades. During his tenure in the Reagan administration, Shultz set aside 1 hour on Friday afternoons to think about the problems facing the U.S., strategies to deal with those problems, and he also reflected upon his own performance. You think you have trouble carving out an hour with the schedule you keep? Shultz's job wasn't exactly a 9-to-5 affair. There very well may be nobody more in demand than an American Secretary of State. Yet, Shultz managed to keep that 1 hour Friday appointment with himself most of the time. He instructed his secretary to decline anyone who requested to connect with him during that time, other than his wife or President Reagan. Now that you know you're not as busy as George Shultz was, and you can indeed book that meeting with yourself, maybe you're wondering why you might want to. Fair enough. Here's my opinion. We all need some disconnected, quiet time to just think. We can freely think about our challenges and how to overcome them. We can also analyze how we're doing on a personal level. Much of the time, we're putting out fires, yet have so much to do that we never focus on the reason for those fires. We treat the symptoms, but never spend any time on finding the cure. Maybe you can relate to that. Setting up an hour to look deeper allows us an opportunity to do that, so we must be intentional about guarding this time. Vague commitments aren't going to work. If you can do it, secure the same hour on the same day each week. Now, is this for everybody? That's debatable. Do you have a job that you could improve or even revolutionize if you had an hour per week to think about the kind of changes that are needed? If the answer is yes, then all you have to do is persuade your boss you need that hour and what could come from it. If you get it, make sure you keep him or her up to date on your progress. If the appointments bring forth fruit, I'm sure your manager will be happy to let you continue. You want a journey or pad, write without editing. Just get your thoughts on paper. You can go back and polish them up later. As for distractions, you have to be disciplined. Turn your phone to vibration. No emails, no texts, no calls. If the office is noisy, how about the conference room? If you can get away, maybe a coffee shop, park, the beach, library, or a chair in the corner of your bank. If you really want to do it, you'll find a way. 1 hour, once a week, to just think. It could make a big difference in your performance. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
And that is about 50% of what goes on when I'm in grill marks mode.
Yeah.
Yep. Laying out there on the beach, got the ocean doing its thing, got bikinis going back and forth. But most of the rest of the time,
no distractions there, right?
No, hardly any at all. But the idea is that I can think. That's all I got to do is just concentrate on the ocean, the groovy tunes that are playing in my headphones, and just ponder different things, different strategies, stuff to do on the radio, stuff to do on my show, stuff the other shows should be doing, training for the guys, that kind of thing that pops into my head. Of course, I'll forget it all by Monday, but it was the intention. Write it down. If you're looking for someplace to go that is different, kind of off the beaten path for something like this, I'd run into somebody, and we were going to get together for I forget what it was, and she said, "Meet me at Siesta." Are you familiar with the place?
No.
It's over by the furniture store, right next to the furniture store. There's a building, and you park on the side, and you go in. There's a little coffee shop in there.
What furniture store are you speaking of?
Used to be, I want to say it used to be a Designer's Direct. It's right up the street by the Airport Hotel.
Oh, I do know where that is.
Yeah, and so you can they've got breakfast cereal in there, and you can get sandwiches and the like. But there's a lot of different kind of niches that they have in there, places where you can go and just park your bag over here and plug in your laptop. You put your headphones in or whatever it is that you're going to be doing, and just kind of zone into your work for a while.
So it's the kind of place that anybody can go to because there's not that many people around, and you can just kind of do your thing.
Right.
That,
So
that
you're
was
looking for
until now.
Yeah, now everybody's going to go there.
Talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, what kind of breakfast cereal they got there, Ray? We'll find out. 7:33 in the morning. Still to come, we'll be talking with Doug Domenech, who is in town. Domenech, I'm sure that's how to say it. The Interior Department's top man for the territories is in town. We'll find out why, and we speak with him in a couple of minutes. It's
Just call him Mr. D.
Yeah, you're right.
Is he bringing the billion with him?
No, I don't know if he's bringing any money. He's going to be talking about World Heritage opportunities that could turn into billions. I mean, we're in the same time zone as Cairns, Australia, which I believe has 2 World Heritage sites: the Great Barrier Reef, and then just on the other side of Atherton, which is their breadbasket, there is the Outbacks. And so these are World Heritage sites, and you can get a whole lot of people on airplanes to come and visit if you've got something like a World Heritage anchor attached to your name.
So what would be potentially Guam's World Heritage sites?
All of the clearing, Retidian, as an example, all the clearing that they're doing. They're making all kinds of really incredible discoveries up there that we wouldn't normally see had nobody turned the dirt. So there could be some opportunities. Red rice, my mother, the South is always the correct answer when we start talking about what the best things about life are on Guam. Red rice, my mother, and the South. So it's possible that the South, the great historical district, say in Inarahan, right? We could turn that into a World Heritage site. So those are among the things that he's here to talk about here and in the CNMI. Plus, there's grant opportunities as well. You got him on the line? Tell you what, we're going to hold off on headlines for a couple of minutes. Mana Silva Tyron is going to leave some time for me to spend with. God, I hope I say this right. I've been practicing for days. Douglas Domenech.
Very good.
Sorry, I got that one right. The Insular Department's top man, it says, for the territories is in town. The Assistant Secretary for Insular and International Affairs. Welcome back.
Thank you, Ray. It's great to be with you. Actually, this is my 6th trip to Guam. I'm always excited to come.
I think you can vote here now.
Yeah, you make me so.
I think you'd lose the opportunity to vote for your boss, but you could actually vote here on Guam in one of the elections. You let me know. I'll arrange things with Maria Pangilinan over at the Election Commission if you like.
Sounds great.
How long are you going to be in the area for? I understand that you got a lot of travel now that you're in the Marianas.
Yes, actually, we're going to be here a little over a week. As you've said on the show already, I'm going to do the Operation Christmas Drop, which is for me next Sunday. So I'll be here until for about a week.
And so that they've already figured out which drop you're going to be doing. You're going out to Chuk, right?
Out to Chuk, to the island of Lucanor.
Now, that's not a short flight. I don't know what they told you. That's not a short flight. I'd bring a book or a couple of podcasts to listen to.
That's a good idea. I should definitely do that.
Okay, I don't know what they're going to be doing by way of food and creature comforts. As I mentioned, the jump that I was on was with the general at Anderson Air Force Base. So we got to go up to the pretty islands up north, and it was just a quick turnaround. Came back for coffees and sodas and Slim Jims and that kind of thing within just a couple of hours of the trip. But let's talk about the trip that you're on now. As I understand it, and Tanya's a great girl. She sent me some information on what it was that you were going to be talking about here, and I'm excited about the opportunities with World Heritage. Just a few seconds ago, I was talking about World Heritage within our time zone. You go down to Cairns, Australia, and they've got a couple of big things to brag about. And it'd be nice if we could identify some of the World Heritage sites here in Guam and the Mariana Islands. What do you have in mind?
Well, so what we're doing is the Department of the Interior, my office, the Office of Insular Affairs, is hosting a World Heritage Opportunities Workshop for the Pacific Islands and for the Virgin Islands. We're bringing all the territories together to talk about World Heritage and historic preservation. So it's sort of 2 workshops in one. Actually, you've already mentioned another World Heritage site on your show already, which is the Rock Islands. So it turns out that the Pacific region is underrepresented in the World Heritage Site world. And so basically we have Non Madal in Micronesia. We've got Bikini Island in the Marshalls. We've got the Rock Islands in Palau. And so our goal is to try to work with historic preservation people to just discuss how do you get on this list, how difficult is it, and so that's why we're bringing everybody together here in Guam. The governor's going to come and kick off the session. We have a number of notable folks speaking who are experts, so we're very excited about it.
Well, in addition to that, you're going to be visiting some of these areas that I think could be turned into or would be great options for World Heritage, Ritidian National Wildlife Refuge, and there's just all kinds of historical and cultural stuff. Believe it or not, that happens on the other side of the fences. Naval Base Guam down in the old village of Sumai. There's just a ton of history out there, and if you find a lady named Annette Donner, she could probably walk you through virtually all of those historic sites at Navy.
Well, and we might be meeting with her. I'm actually traveling with a Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Environment for Navy, Carnegie Hohanessian. He's got a name worse than mine, and
diversity.
He's in charge of all of the environment and cultural and natural resources for the Navy worldwide. So he's coming to talk about the military buildup, look at some of the sites that are being impacted, make sure that they're dealing with the preservation of those historic objects correctly. And so he and I are going to be traveling together both here in Guam, over in Saipan. We'll meet with the governor here privately. Then we'll meet with the governor of CNMI, go over to Tinian, and then I'll go on to Rota. So it's quite a trip.
Yeah, I was going to say there are a lot of moving parts on this trip, but I think one of the things that you'll find is the guys up at Joint Region, I think, have done an outstanding job, at least keeping people like me in the know about what's happening, what the remediation is on these properties that they're under construction right now, and what some of the mitigation are for the things that they are finding. I think that when we finally get around to building that repository that we were promised by the Department of Defense, I think we're going to be impressed with the quality of the items that we are seeing and the illumination on what life was like on Guam in those areas that we wouldn't know about if we had not started turning some dirt up there and going through these archaeological processes.
Well, that's exactly right. And in fact, I think the National Park Service is currently the temporary custodian of those objects. We're actually going to go to see their repository. Again, it's just a temporary one at this point. We're also meeting with Admiral Manoni and his team at the Joint Region Marianas office. So we're going to spend a lot of quality time together because we're essential employees.
You have been listening all morning, haven't you? A couple of opportunities, and everybody was asking, okay, we got the guy from Interior in town. Is he bringing any money? And the answer is, well, kind of got to look at it this way. If we score on a World Heritage site, that's the instant tourism dollars right there, and something that GVB would be able to just market the heck out of. But the Office of Insular Areas is always administering grants, and my understanding is that there's a whole lot of grant opportunities that are coming up in 2020. Among my favorites are the grant opportunities that exist for coral reefs. We're very concerned about the reefs getting smothered. I don't know if you've had a chance, but with all the rain that we've had recently and in some of the bays and the outlets, we can see a whole lot of runoff from the highlands getting down into the ocean and smothering the corals. We're also seeing changes in the ocean temperature, and there was a concern about the corals getting bleached out earlier in the summer because of the excessive heat in the ocean. And so it'll be interesting to me to see who among my friends are going to line up for the Coral Reef and Natural Resources initiatives. But that's not the only one, right?
Yeah, that's right. My office gives about $28 million, or I should say Congress appropriates. We administer about $28 million in grants just to Guam. Mm-hmm. And so they're everything from doing an assessment of Guam Memorial Hospital, another subject you talked about this morning.
Oh, yeah, that's heavy.
maintenance issues, capital improvement issues. We have grants related to energy. We've done a lot of the solar panels on the schools here in Guam. So it comes to about $28 million, and we are happy to partner with the government of Guam to make that happen.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how effectively they can spend some of those federal dollars that come out in this area, as the ones that are administered by you. I'm holding in my hand a letter that went out from. Let's see. This is Ed Case from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard, Kilili Sablan, and Mike Nicholas, who I'm sure you've met in Washington, D.C. He is our congressional representative. And basically what these four are asking of Mike Pompeo, Mark Esper, and your boss, Dave Bernhardt, is... Let me get to the part where they do the ask. To therefore request that the administration explicitly address full and adequate compact impact aid to all disproportionately affected jurisdictions as part of your RMI and FSM compacts process and include in any proposed congressional approval provision for such aid. I'm sure you've seen this letter?
I have seen the letter.
Yeah. Do you think there might be some kind of traction on it? I know that there have been disagreements between Hawaii, the Guam, Saipan, et cetera, on what our reports should look like to the Department of Interior to get recompensed greater than the $30 million cost. Do you think that we've got a shot now that those conversations on the COFA have started again?
Well, it is a complicated issue because the funding for the compacts of free association, COFA, that funding stream is a separate appropriation than compact impact.
Yeah.
And so those are a powerful set of congressmen, and they have a very loud voice in the appropriations process. It's a bipartisan group, and it's also bicameral, so it's both Senate and House, and so they have a lot of power to change what the numbers look like. Of course, I'm very aware that both Guam and Hawaii, who get the lion's share of this money, have both done their own studies to indicate that they have to spend an awful lot more money in each of their areas to take care of the needs of compact migrants. We also provide some separate funding through our office for the Micronesian One Stop and a few other smaller programs that are meant to help that population as well. So all of this, I agree with them. It should be on the table.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'm trying to figure out just how related this might be, but the last big shot that I had on the phone from Washington, D.C. was the head of the Department of Veterans Affairs. Nice fellow. I'm sure you've met him. And talking about maybe doing something to use the hospital here, the Navy hospital here, as kind of an outreach clinic for the veterans, the same way that the president has opened up to specific veterans, the commissaries and the exchanges and access to the bases. They would offer the same kind of medical care to retirees and other veterans that they offer to regular service personnel. Is that something that the Department of Interior has got any input on? I mean, is there a letter that you guys can write to support that idea?
Well, we have, as you said, met with Secretary Wilkie. I was aware that he was on your show. Of course, he made a tour out here. I'm sure he talked about that when he was on the show. He came out to Ponape to participate in the inauguration of the new president there. And after that ceremony, he went to American Samoa. He came here to Guam. He went to CNMI. And then he called me to his office. Which a secretary can do, and to basically do a download of what he observed. And that was related to the condition of the hospitals, the needs of the veterans in each area. That's part of why we ended up coming up with money to both do an assessment of the American Samoa Hospital as well as Guam Memorial to basically say what is the condition of these hospitals. So we are underway with that at the moment. But he was the secretary was very impacted and very interested in helping the region. As you may know, President Trump has also been very interested in helping the region. He put out a a memo on the importance of the Indo-Pacific strategy, and of course that put Guam back on the radar of a lot of areas in terms of wanting to make sure Guam is strong and healthy. The president invited, the first ever time the three presidents of the freely associated states went to the White House together. He also fully funded the compact for Palau, and then had the Secretary of State come out and initiate the discussions about the COFA. And so we've been actually very active together with our friends at Indo-PACOM in Hawaii to do a number of things in the region. So it's very important to us in Washington.
748, you've mentioned, Doug, a couple of times Guam Memorial Hospital, and I know that there's certain investments that are going to need to be made, whether we decide that we're going to try to fix what we've got or build something new. To what degree can Interior help with that? I mean, I'm talking about dollars and cents.
Well, our funding, of course, is limited, although Congress, again, they have the purse strings, but we have taken that first step of paying. So our office provided a grant to a special unit of the Corps of Engineers to come to Guam Memorial. They do a top-down analysis of sort of every system at the hospital, and they're in the process of writing that up as I speak, so I don't know when it's due to us, but it'll be something obviously we'll share with the governor, and then we'll start the process of seeing what we can do. In the case of American Samoa, their report, just as you know, kind of foreshadowing what they might do in Guam, is they gave us 6 options for dealing with health care in American Samoa, from essentially the cheapest option, to repair certain parts of critical infrastructure, all the way to build a brand new hospital. So it was a very comprehensive analysis, and that's what I expect for Guam Memorial.
Yeah. But the question that I've got is just where's the money going to eventually come from? It'd be nice if we had more guys in Congress that understood the nature of the situation that we've got out here. With regards to healthcare, we've got some other issues. I don't know that you might be swinging by the prison that we have here that is no longer up to the task of housing and maintaining all of the criminal population that we have here on Guam, and we might be looking to the Department of Interior to help us find funds to build a new prison somewhere else.
Well, that's certainly a possibility. I'm not planning to visit the prison. It was not highlighted for me, but we're definitely interested, and we're basically in the grant cycle. We just announced the availability of funds for this coming year, and so we'll accept grant applications for the next number of months, and then sit down and go through and give out the money that Congress has provided us.
I'm sure that you wouldn't disagree with this, but Juan Carlos Benitez is about the nicest guy ever, isn't he?
He is a very nice guy, and of course, my family is from Puerto Rico,
right,
as his, and so we've always hit it off with the Puerto Rican thing.
Oh well, he's online. I can see him watching the program now, so I wanted to make sure that he knew that I knew that you know that he is online. He's among the people that instrumental in setting up this conversation. That very, very enlightening. Listen, I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Tell the governor I say hello and appreciate the big light show that they put on. I don't know if you have a chance to see this, but you got to get down there and watch this Festival of Lights thing that they've got down at Skinner Plaza.
Great, sounds good.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time with it, and welcome back to Guam. I hope I get a chance to see you face to face this time.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks, Ray.
I appreciate your time. Doug Domenech from the Department of Interior. 7:51. Yep, producer telling me got to get back on track. Here it comes. And thanks very much, Juan Carlos, and my other Republican friends and my Puerto Rican buddies for setting up that conversation. 9 away from the top of the hour. That's iConnect time. Run to the nearest iConnect and ask them about saving money. They know how to do that kind of thing with your plan. So 888-8888 is their phone number.
Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. My Christmas present from Juan is a chance to talk with the guys on the ground here, and we'll be spending time, obviously, with the representatives that we've got, the governor, lieutenant governor, et cetera, from around these parts. And there was a question I was asking. Remember the other day when they did the unveiling of the mural out at the library, and we were talking out loud about what some of the other buildings are that we might be able to get pictures of Josh and Lulian Guerrero. And do you know what one of the other buildings turns out to be?
That's
your museum.
Really?
I call it Mana's Museum because she was at Gita when they were putting that thing together. But anyway, no. So I've got a thing here. Let me see if I can.
My glasses just broke.
They broke. Your glasses are broke.
Screw came out.
Just okay. So never mind that. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me.
I hear you. I hear you.
It says the video can't be played. I played it already. Maybe I'll try this other video that I've got. It is a video of the holiday display. There it is. This one has audio.
Did you just play the charms for me? Because I was distracted.
Yes, that's what that is. The audio is good on this. We can play the audio on this video. So what you're seeing...
But only if I want to turn it up.
There it is. Well, it's Christmas music. Grinch? You're all Grinchy today. So there is your library, and there, I forget what they're calling this. There's a name for it, something video skinning or something like that, where they're shooting the video from the projectors onto the screens at very, very high resolution. And so this will go for a couple of minutes, and there's a crowd of people up in front of the museum, and there's different panels and different slides that go up. There's leaving one up there because it's got this long piece of scripture that has to be up for a long time.
So you know that the museum,
slow.
that design is supposed to be a book.
Yes.
Those are pages of a book.
Yes, correct. But they're also, you can also obviously make screens out of them, and so if you watch this long enough, it'll go out. There's this you get. I want to say the cookie cutter images and things like that they play in the background, but it's it's Christmassy theme.
They
it's
turned it into
something
a
different
picture
for the
book.
kids. Yeah, it's a picture book.
It's
so
beautiful.
there it is, the digital images of Christmas presents, and that's going to upload and implode and do all kinds of cool video effects to play. Frankly, I think that's something that they ought to have all the time.
That's very cool.
Oh, and there's Lou and Josh.
Yeah, you had to have. I knew that was coming.
You eventually have to have a picture
Is that bigger
of Lou
than the
and
mural?
Josh. I think it's bigger than I think the next one's going to be on the Bank of Guam. It's going to be big, just 10 stories worth of Lou and 10 stories worth of Josh. But
that is so beautiful.
But it is a beautiful thing.
I have to tell you that.
It is. So there's going to be a lot of complaining. There's going to be all the critics are going to be out there and go.
It's a distraction for traffic.
Yeah. And is it going to be? How much did that cost the taxpayers and stuff like that?
Humbug.
I think
Scrooges.
Yeah, I think in this case, I don't know that. Speaking for this taxpayer here, I don't necessarily have a problem with dressing up downtown again. Yeah, I think nice. Every year there should be something when you were just a baby, maybe even before that.
In front 90s,
of in the early 90s. But there used to be, and you'll remember it. They filled it in on the backside of that museum. Used to be a big fountain.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't too long ago.
In the days of a government in Guam, well, it worked back in the days. There was once upon a time where there was water that came out of that thing, and they had lights. It's like the old Ricky Berdalio administration when things worked, right? And it had lights underneath it, and water'd come out, and they put a big gigantic tree up there, and the folks from over at the Pan Am building next door. Remember when Pan Am was still an airline, and the folks at the Pan Am building next door would always throw something. It was was a big kind of festive gathering in the downtown Augusta area. I like the idea that they're doing that there. I like what the back of Skinner Plaza, the back of that museum has become now with all the different activities. They got all the displays that are out there, stuff for families to go. Because life on Guam is expensive, but here's a low cost, no cost way to treat the family to a night out and get in the downtown Augusta area, walk around Skinner Plaza for a while.
And it's so good for the businesses, the restaurants, and the
Carabao is right there.
Yeah.
If you want to get into hiking, go next door to Southern Mountain Gear and see some of the cool hiking stuff that they've got out there. There's a zillion restaurants. I mean, before too much longer, there's going to be California CPK.
That's going into the
old Proa. That's going to be something we've got now, and I haven't had a chance to eat there yet. Is the new Crab Daddy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because it's on that side of the street, and every time I'm thinking about it, I'm going in the opposite direction and don't want to hang a louie or something like that. Or I don't have any money in my pocket. A couple of minutes away from the top of the hour, one of the activities, and this ties in with a news story somewhere, one of the activities that you and Brother Phil did over the weekend, you went to the cockfights.
I did.
You went to the Derby.
I did.
What was that? I've never actually been to one.
It was actually fun. The first one I ever went to was we went to the one in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And that one is at the World Resort. And I enjoyed it. I didn't really understand what I was watching.
Yeah.
But, having learned a little bit, I was like, wow, this is really cool. So we went on Saturday night, and I thought it was really fun. And I wasn't ready to leave, but
Did your chickens win? Did your gudju win?
I don't know. We were winning money.
Somebody put money into your hands.
We were winning money, but we left winners.
So did you feel?
But I don't know. I just have to turn around and say, did you pick that one?
Did you have that little twinge of guilt when a bird would get beat up and almost die in the middle of the ring? Did it bother you? Emotional?
No, you know why? Because chickens go into my yard and they eat all my plants and my fruit, and they kind of irritate me. So I'm okay with it.
So you're okay with them getting trampled and beat by the other ones? Okay, just checking. So this becomes important.
But it was a good time, and I'll go again next week because there's another Derby.
Well, you better hurry because by the 20th they're supposed to.
They're not going to enforce it here.
I know, that's so fun. I think they ought to have the Derby at the governor's office personally. 7:59 and change. We're closing in on Fox News Live. On the other side of that, Monticello will be back and talk about some of the big stories that we ignored in the headlines that we blew off because I had Doug Domenech on the phone. Anyway, so that's coming up here in just moments right here on 93.3 KUSG Hagåtña. This is The Point.
A deadline today for the Trump White House and the impeachment inquiry. I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News. The president and his legal team have until 6 p.m. today to say whether they will participate in an impeachment hearing on Wednesday. Fox's Kevin Cork.
Let me walk you through the process as we know it from this point forward. We'll hear from a number of scholars. They're going to talk about the legitimacy and the practicality and the constitutionality of the impeachment process. It should be 4 witnesses in total. 3 are expected to support it. 1 is expected to not support the idea of this process. Then on the 6th, that's coming up on Friday, the White House will declare its intention to take part in the oncoming Judiciary Committee process. That will include evidence and witnesses. By the way, same date for Republican lawmakers. Then on December 9th, the chairman, Jerry Nadler, will consider the matter.
GOP committee members looking for a fair hearing this week.
Hopefully he'll broaden it out and we get a broad perspective, and so we can go that way. And there'll be a lot of questions asked, and I think a lot of speeches given in my committee.
Republican committee member Andy Biggs appeared on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar also appearing on NBC's Meet the Press with this.
I see it simply as a global Watergate. Back then, you had a president in Richard Nixon who was paranoid, and he delegated to some people to go break into the headquarters and get into a file cabinet to get dirt on a political opponent. That's basically what this president has done on a global basis.
Meantime, plane cancellations are piling up across the country as storms affect one of the busiest travel days of the year. Fox's Matt Finn has more at Chicago's O'Hare International.
We just spoke to some people, one man who arrived from Korea, his connecting flight now canceled, and another woman who is not getting to Mexico today as planned.
America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, what's that?
A Subway Big Hot Pastrami?
My big hot pastrami?
No, my Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Get your own.
Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked sunflower crunch bread, topped with pickles and mustard. Finish off your meal with all new seasoned potato wedges, baked to perfection right in the restaurant. Both available for a limited time only. Subway, make it what you want.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Iraq's Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi has resigned amid violent protests for political reform. Fox's Trey Yingst has more.
Over the weekend, Iraqi Prime Minister Abdul Mahdi submitted his resignation to parliament as bloody protests continue to rock the country. Now, according to the Iraqi constitution, the current president, Barham Saleh, will have 15 days to run the government until a new prime minister is appointed and a new cabinet is formed. Over the past month, more than 400 people have been killed and thousands injured as anti-government demonstrations continue. This weekend, at least 2 people were killed as clashes erupted in the city of Najaf. Security forces used live ammunition and tear gas. The bodies were then carried through the streets from the mosque to the grave as the protesters chanted in Arabic, quote, "There is no God but Allah."
And in London, 3 of those attacked there in that city Saturday were part of a Cambridge University program designed to connect criminology students and prisoners. Meantime, former Vice President and 2020 Democratic hopeful Joe Biden kicking off his No Malarkey campaign bus tour in Iowa.
I'm on what we're referring here because I guess it's my Irish ancestry that when my grandfather would really think something was full of, you know what, he'd say that's a lot of malarkey. So we're on a no malarkey tour, meaning we're telling the truth. We're not going to lie.
The visit kicks off an 8-day, 800-mile road trip. 11 people were wounded in the French Quarter of New Orleans early Sunday morning during a mass shooting.
Officers were actually there in that very block where someone decided to open fire on people. Police say they initially thought they were being targeted because those shots were fired so close to them. The shooting happened around 3:30 early this morning near the corner of Bourbon and Canal Streets at the edge of the French Quarter. Patrols were already beefed up in that area because of this weekend's annual Bayou Classic football game between Grambling State and Southern University.
I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
GRMC's Neuroscience and Neurology Department treats a wide spectrum of disorders associated with the nervous system, spine, and brain. Some of the more common disorders include seizures, epilepsy, dementia, sleep disorders, migraine, and stroke, which is one of the leading causes of death on Guam. GRMC's neuroscience team is equipped with the latest technology and the finest neurological doctors. To make an appointment, contact GRMC Specialty Clinics at 645-5500.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. It is 8:06. I'm Ana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Assistant Secretary of Interior Douglas Domenech is on island for a week and will participate in Operation Christmas Drop. While here, though, we'll hold, along with the Office of Insular Affairs, a World Heritage Workshop with Pacific Islands historic preservation folks. Domenech says the Pacific Islands are underrepresented in the World Heritage realm, and his hope is to link everyone together to guide islands and territories in getting on that list and improve efforts related to historic preservation. The Office of Insular Affairs administers some $28 million in federal grants to Guam, including funding to the Army Corps of Engineers, which recently conducted an assessment of the Guam Memorial Hospital. Domenech says he expects a report is forthcoming on that Army Corps visit here, and that will be shared with the governor. The Mayor's Council of Guam is aware that Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas has considered resigning from his position. He continues to be held behind bars for a federal case. Council Executive Director Angel Sablan, who continues to suggest that the mayor of Jotnya should resign, says that he's been in contact with Blas's girlfriend about his plans. The mayor's waiting for advice from his attorney. Defense attorney Joseph Rosano was not available for comment. Blas awaits trial following a federal indictment on extortion and bribery charges. He's alleged to have participated in a drug operation in his village, allowing drug dealers to use cluster mailbox overseen by the mayor's office. It was just last week that the Guam Election Commission approved a petition by Jotnya resident Francisco Heaton to remove Blas from office. Heaton must now collect at least 981 signatures from registered voters in Jotnya before he hands over the petitions to the commission, which then must vet those signatures. The petitions also have to be approved by the Guam legislature before the Election Commission can begin plans for a recall election and then a special election for the mayor's position. Meanwhile, the mayors are pleading with residents to look after one another, particularly in a time when the police department is short-staffed, following an incident in which a 2-year-old child reportedly walked into traffic on Chalan San Antonio in Tamuning. A Facebook post explains how a driver on a busy Tamuning thoroughfare was able to stop his vehicle just before hitting the toddler, whose family lives nearby. A second driver who witnessed the incident stopped his vehicle to pull the toddler off the road as the first driver called police. The child's grandfather appeared and said he was watching the child but couldn't keep up with him as he ran onto the road. According to the Facebook post, the Guam Police Department didn't send an officer, and the officer who answered the phone said there was nothing that they could do. Tamuning Mayor Luis Rivera said the 2-year-old lives in an apartment complex where other families live. This and similar issues have been brought up in village meetings with Senator Jim Moylan, and in fact, Dededo will host the next of the meetings that will be in December, on December 12th. Senator Moylan says the issue of holding parents accountable for children was consistently echoed at each of his village meetings. He continues to urge the governor to consider some of his proposed bills that would address public safety concerns throughout the island. Well, it was just last week that an elderly woman was assaulted and robbed in Dededo. The 61-year-old woman was at Bejado's barber shop when the man entered the shop and struck her from behind. This happened on Thanksgiving morning. The suspect is described only as being heavy-set with a dark complexion and black curly hair. He stands about 5 feet 8 inches tall and was seen fleeing on a mountain bike with the victim's bag. Police are asking the public for help. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers or the Guam Police Department. More news after this.
Make wish lists come true this holiday season with Coast 360. For a limited time, get 1% off your personal loan rate when you apply by December 31st, 2019. Loans up to $50,000 with flexible terms and no application fees. Apply online or at any member center. Terms and conditions apply. See print ad or Coast360FCU.com for details. May your holidays be merry and bright with Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive.
Hafa Day, Tritons. This is Chelsea St. president of the UOG Alumni Association. I made some of the best memories during my time as a Triton. Because of this, I have committed to giving back to the G is for Giving campaign, which will help student scholarships, programs, and activities. And I encourage you all to do the same. To make a tax-deductible donation, log on to give.uog.edu by December 31st or call 735-2957.
Viva UOG!
The federal ban on cockfighting will take effect in a matter of weeks, which will outlaw the practice in Guam and other U.S. territories. However, Guam senators who have also not yet held a public hearing on Senator Sabina Perez's Protection of Animal Welfare and Safety Act have effectively decided to ignore it. The legislature has determined that enforcement of the cockfighting ban must be GovGuam's lowest priority, and the governor has also stated that she would not seek to enforce the ban. The 2018 Farm Bill, enacted in December of that year, imposed a federal ban on cockfighting throughout the territories with a phase-in period of 1 year. The ban drew serious criticism from territories, including Guam and Puerto Rico, which argued there is cultural and historic significance to the practice. And while Governor Lilian Guerrero will not enforce the ban, she did meet with the mayors to talk about the looming federal mandate. In the past, the mayors would seek authorization from the governor to hold cockfighting events during their village fiestas. The ban makes the local legislation moot. Didido Mayor Melissa Savares, though, stated her concerns that without regulated areas for cockfighting, the events would be held in the neighborhoods. The ban takes effect on December 20th. And the capital city of Hagåtña has been transformed into a Christmas wonderland. And while many...
I'm going to play the video again. I was going to put the video of our Christmas festival Wonderland lights. Go. Okay.
It is the Christmas wonderland. And while many island residents are enjoying the festive lights and decorations, some are criticizing last week's use of government resources to set up the display. On Friday, 50 government employees helped set up the display. Janela Carrera stated that there were certain non-critical staff that were tapped to help set up the display because of the delays caused by the storm.
What did you want me to jump in on that?
No.
I mean, I can.
That is really pretty, though.
No, it's a nice. That's a nice thing. I like it. It's, you know why? Because it's technology. Mm-hmm. Somebody had invested in some new technology to make it do that. And so the question that I have is, who's got the keys to that technology, and can I borrow it? Because I want to have a party. It was like a Super Bowl party. That would be so cool if we could play like the Super Bowl on the big screens up at the museum. I think that would be awesome. I think there's all kinds of other things that we can do. We just need like more pictures of Josh and Lou to show on the screen. I'm just off the top of my head. Just more of those. With Lou and Josh on one side, and then me and Mary Torres on the other. What do you say? What do you say? Come on now. 8:14 in the morning, and I guess she's done with the news.
I'm done.
That's Mona Silva Tyron with the news. We'll end up talking about some sporty stuff in just a second, but maybe I'll scare up some weather while I got the thing on. I'm just going to refresh this real quick. So Michael Knight has got some new information to go on as far as the weather is concerned. Partly sunny today with isolated showers. Winds from the east up to about 20 miles per hour, decreasing a bit after sunset. Highs 88 degrees and overnight lows about 78 or so degrees. Sunset tonight about 5:51. Tell the others, and sunrise tomorrow morning should be 6:28 or so. Watch out for the purple skies. We got one this morning. Might also be purple skies tomorrow. You just never know. Michael Knight now has a refreshed radar screen in front of him. What's the weather going to be like?
Should be real nice. We're looking at radar right now, and we see very little in the way of rainfall out there. It looks like whatever was moving through earlier has kind of died out in the diurnal cycle shift. Of course, they'll get some sunshine shining down on the moisture and pumping it back up a little bit later this morning and this afternoon, but very little of that's actually going to get to our area. It's all associated with a very weak tropical disturbance. It's passing to our south. We'll take a look at that on satellite. That's 96W Invest. It's going to keep on passing to our south. Right now, we're kind of over to the left. Let's go ahead and talk about what we see there. We see...
Wait, did you want to talk about Philippines?
Yeah,
Philippines.
That's really about all that's going on because we just literally have no weather going on here. But if you got family in the Philippines, say Bicol region, with the northern Bicol region, once you get down to, say, the southern areas, not really going to be much of a problem, maybe just a little bit of rain. But more importantly, Metro Manila area. If you got family members that live there, you might want to give them a call, tell them get ready. The outer bands of this Kamuri are now starting to affect portions of the Bicol region, and it will continue to move on across. The eye should make landfall on Luzon proper sometime tomorrow morning. So it's going to be another couple of days of some pretty rough weather for them, and then that'll be the end of it. And hopefully they won't get hit too bad right before the holidays.
8:16 in the morning. In fact, just thinking about it, a couple of people there that probably need to go and find some kind of shelter. 8:16, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
The holiday season is here, and it gives us pause to reflect on the abundance of 2020
2019, and to express our gratitude for Guam, the island we call home, and to all Guamanians. Our team here at Security Title is proud of the work we do to support ourselves and our families, to serve and care for our customers, and to give back to our community. May this season of joy and the new year bring happiness, good health, and prosperity to you and yours. Merry Christmas from all of us at Security Title.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by AMC. That's my short for American Medical Center. And these guys have got, they've got everything for you. All kinds of great doctors and really, really groovy practitioners and nurses in there. American Medical Center, your partner in healthcare. Their number is 647-8262. The Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by American President Lines, AMC with APL with a global presence and a local home. Don't forget, can I do the mescaline now? I can do the mescaline now. You know, it's a new month, and they've got some new specials that they want me to talk about. They've got Kahlua pork and cabbage. They also have seafood laula, but I'm going to read you about the Kahlua pork and cabbage. Now, slow-roasted, smoke-laced pork, shredded, and then they saute them with onions and cabbage. And then they serve that over steamed rice, and then there's lomi salmon. Is your mouth watering? Just from the conversation about shredded pork, right? And then the sauteing and the onions and the cabbage. Try it. Available in Agana and in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel. You need to make reservations because it's Kahlua pork and cabbage. Call 969-2652. Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by Take Care, offering proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage you and your family to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing, unwinding, and being socially connected. You can do all of that with your membership at Take Care.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Somebody's got sports around here. We have nothing but sports to talk about for the next little bit. Montesilva Tyron can chime in with her the cockfighting sports report. Did they have names? Did the animals have names?
I don't know.
Yeah, they do. They're always named Voila and Maron.
That's true, isn't it?
You know,
Voila.
when you go to the cockfight in the Philippines, and you know this was my first time walking in, I'm like, oh, it sounds like a cage full of chickens, because you hear this meron, wala 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 wala, meron.
What does that mean?
And then you have like, I don't know. I think one is like
voila is nothing.
Is short. It's the voila is the short side where they place a bet and they don't match your bet. I'm such a novice at this. I'm not even the right person to talk to. But meron is the one that is the bird of choice, right? It's like the.
Go ahead, keep going.
Man, it beats me.
I don't know either. I don't. You know, it's born and raised, 57 years on Guam. I've never been to a cockfight.
I've never been to one. Never.
Dude, we should make it
should go with my husband.
Before it gets to be federally illegal, right? And before it, what's the concern now? It's going to go into the villages and people.
Well, it's already in the villages. Come on now.
Yeah. Now, when you got the money put in your hand, was there anybody from the Department of Revenue and Taxation that wanted to take their share of it?
No, not that I saw.
Not one, right? So it's obviously even in the organized situations, it's not being taxed.
I will not confirm nor deny.
Yeah. So even if it goes in deep into the village where nobody will be able to find it, you know, it'll be in the back ways of the villages. It ain't going to make that much of a difference here in terms of the government of Guam. Our cops aren't going to enforce it. They got other stuff they got to worry about. I
did ask, could I bring my duck?
What?
Could I bring my duck and let Ducky fight?
Did I showed a video of that not that long ago, right? Of a duck and a chicken getting into a fight.
Ducks are mean.
Yeah,
you don't.
My duck is mean.
Oh yeah. I might see if I can dig that out because the duck clearly won in the engagement that we showed on a television that one day. Anyway, 20 after 8 o'clock in the morning. It's time to talk about sports or pretend to talk about
that
sports.
Was me pretending to know anything about cockfighting.
We ought to do this. There ought to be a thing, and you know what? I'll see if I can get $36,000 like FestPac wants, so we can get somebody to come and document this. Right? There are things that we need to be able to do just to be able to say we did it. Attend a cockfight. That's number one. Number two. Have you ever gone to bingo?
No.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
no,
I want to
never
go.
You've never gone to bingo either, right?
I hear it's high tech. They've got these little laptop things
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
little
yeah,
machines.
yeah.
That you can,
And you can
and
make
then you
some-
could use the dabbers. You could do both. You could
There's
get
serious money that the progressive coverall, and this is not the highest
is
stakes I've
real
ever
sports.
seen. Progressive coverall, $9,000 if you get it in 49 numbers or less, right? 49 calls or less to cover the entire thing. Now, having done a bingo television program, I will tell you that the odds of getting a coverall in 49 numbers or less, that's way up there. That doesn't happen all the time. That's why the price is so big. Progressive Letter X, $5,500. Progressive Junior Blackout, $5,500. Progressive Indian Star, $5,500. This is serious money that you can get your hands on at these bingo games. It doesn't cost all that much to get in. It doesn't cost all that much to play. So I think one of these days, the entire morning show. With videographers, right? So we can play it at the end. Show up and
We'll call Eric.
Yeah, Eric Rosario. If you're not working for Canada, then come and hang out with us. There's another one, Plumeria Blackout, $5,000. This is at the Plumeria Bingo, and they've got the 7 package games, $500 to $1,000. Letter X there's for $5,000. Super jackpot, $30,000. If you can cover everything up in 47 numbers or less. Like I said, the odds favor the house in bingo. But if you've never gone, oh my God, how much fun is that going to be, right?
It could be
saying.
An evening full of fun and entertainment. Just don't tick off the old ladies because they are packing.
I've heard of people actually leaving there with their winnings and then going straight and buying a car.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I could only hear about something like that.
Where's that? James Howard said, we were talking about the screen on the museum. James Howard says, I'm going to hack that Christmas display and post pictures.
Oh, no.
Post pictures of the emergency room at GMH and people lying on the floor. I think that would be nice. I think that would send out the appropriate Christmas wish. Can you know what? And don't stop there, because we got the 2 screens that we can play around with. We can take all kinds of GovGuam disasters and put them right up there on a screen.
This is Scroogey Monday.
It is. It does feel like a Scroogey Monday, doesn't it? Anyway, so 8:23, we're going to pretend to talk about sports, and I don't want to talk about football pick'ems because I'm doing lousy. I've all of the games that have been played, I've already lost 6 games.
Do what you want.
That's all right. We'll get into that in a minute because I'm not doing much better. Do have some local sports. So girls basketball playoffs a little over a week away. JFK Islanders focused on moving up in the standings. They grabbed a win over the Teton Titans, 47-28 on Friday. Now that brings the record to 4-9, and they want to try to host an opening round playoff game as they sit in 5th place. JFK got double-digit scoring from Francine Villena and freshman guard Layla Smart. And she hit some 3-pointers as well. JFK now going to face St. John's next week, and the makeup game between the Sanchez Sharks is still to be determined. The Titans also have the Sharks and Knights on their schedule, including a rescheduled game against the Okado Bulldogs. And also, Friday evening, Governor Lulian Guerrero released a letter to media saying that she had sent Guam Education Board Chairman Mark Mendiola reiterating her support for high school sports to remain unified under the IIAAG. Letter also requesting
I agree with her.
Yeah, requesting the GEB to rescind a decision they made back in January of this year to sever ties from the IIAAG. The Sports Association scheduled to start next week, and some IIAAG schools have agreed to interleague play with GDOE, which brings me back to why.
Yeah, just what the heck, guys? Can you
it's
just
politics? It's just 100%.
Everybody's gonna go around the room and everybody's gonna have an opinion. We're gonna be back where we started in just a couple more weeks. It'd just be right back to where it was in the beginning before somebody got knickers in a knot and wanted to take his ball and go home.
Well, and that somebody's no longer even on island anymore. You had one guy, a gentleman named Lujan. I forget
remember
his
him.
name.
Yeah,
but he pressed and got it done, and then went
split.
And so it's like,
what's up with that?
What's the deal?
So a couple of other sporty things that we can talk about here. My friend Catherine Gerlan Cagiao has got a medical fundraiser coming up. She's a member of the running community, and she's got a medical fundraiser coming up on Friday night, December 6th, 6 until 10 at the A-Class Bar in Upper Tumon. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that is, Mike? The A-Class Bar?
Haruna.
Where?
The old Haruna.
The old Haruna. Give me the directions relative
Across
to
St. John's.
Club USA. I'm just playing around. Not really. Anyway, so it's going to be A-class bar in Upper Tumon. $10 gets you a free domestic beer, and I know that there is a GoFundMe that has been started for her as well. So you get all the details that you need that night. Otherwise, buzz me, and I will send you a link to the GoFundMe for Catherine Cagiel. Now, in terms of other running stories, great running stories, we were talking about Doris at the Fukuoka Marathon, the 27-mile race that they had out there. She is now reporting. She sent me a thing this morning. It was freezing. 39 degrees is what they had to run in, and that's not in Celsius. That's the one that they use there. It's the one that we use here, right? Fahrenheit. So 39 cold degrees. Which one do we use again, Mike? I forget.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, we
Fahrenheit
definitely
people,
use
right?
Fahrenheit because 39 Celsius is about 115 degrees.
Right. So, definitely cold there, 39 degrees. And then Dave Torrey sent me, Derek Mendel ran that Fukuoka Marathon.
In 2 minutes.
2 hours and 39 minutes. 2 hours and 39 minutes. Now I got the splits here, and his slowest split was the last leg of it, where he ran that 5 kilometers in 23 minutes and 3 seconds, which is still way faster than I can run 5K. That was in the last one of the marathon, just before it ended. His faster split times, well, they're typical Derek split times: 17 minutes 54 seconds, 17:50, 17:39. Right, this guy is just smoothing through this marathon, just outstanding. Way to go, bring back some glory for Guam.
Ready, Kenyon.
And Tabitha Martin completed her first Ironman triathlon at the Ironman Western Australia with a time of 14 hours, 38 minutes. That's from my running and triathlete correspondent, Dave Torrey. Now, there were a whole bunch of pictures that came out last week of the triathlon that they had last weekend before last or so. And I'm looking back because I want to see if the next super sprint triathlon. Now, that's speaking of things that we should all do, right? I'm not going to get a bike. I'm not going to learn to swim fast anytime soon. So what I'm proposing is that the three of us go into the next super sprint triathlon.
Okay.
Okay? What do you think? Mike, down?
As long as I can do the biking part.
You can do the biking part, and I'll do the running part, and then Monica can do the swimming part.
Sure.
No, can do. You swim, right?
I swim, but not great.
But it don't have to be great. You just need to get out of the water.
Well, I can just not fall off the bike. So
I would do the butterfly.
that's okay.
So get out of the water in enough time.
Which is the one like this? Is that the butterfly?
I don't know which one that is. I think it's a breaststroke.
The breaststroke.
But get out of the water fast enough so that Mike can hit the pavement and do the bike part as fast as you possibly can, right?
Which I'm actually pretty good on a bike.
See, that's what I'm saying. And then you can get out from under the bike fast enough so that I don't have to run in the bloody heat is the thing. So if you get out, she's out of the water fast, you're off the bike fast, and then I'm running, without the sun, blazing on top of me like
When is this
like
that
I
you're
have in others.
thinking?
It's January 12th, 2020 is the next super sprint
Wow,
triathlon.
I have time to train.
You have a little bit of time to train.
I need a bike.
8:29. So we'll just run right through here the NFL stuff just because we have to, because there was apparently some football. And I went into week 13. I was thinking, I got this, man. I'm looking up stats, and I'm flying through all this stuff, making what I thought were clever decisions.
Did you get cocky up there in first place?
I sure did get cocky.
Pew?
I got cocky up in first place is what happened. So my first 3 games looking good. I called it right for Chicago, called it right for Buffalo, called it right for New Orleans, and then it's gone to hell since then. I was on the wrong side of the Cincinnati game.
See, that's when I changed this weekend. I changed that Cincinnati game. Got it right.
And then I flipped on the Tennessee, and I was upside down on the Miami game.
Yeah, and that's another one I changed because I had seen some information over the weekend that just told me Miami had a better chance of winning that game over Philadelphia. It had to do with how the teams matched up, and it turns out it worked. So I actually switched that and picked it and got it right. Of course, Green Bay over New York Giants, we knew that was going to happen.
And Pittsburgh over Cleveland was not that tough of a call. And then we get into Carolina and Washington, and Washington just stomps all over Carolina here, 21 to 29.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
21.
Yeah, that's one that I really didn't see coming. I figured Carolina would beat Washington. Did not happen.
Tampa Bay was a surprise over Jacksonville.
Yeah, see, not for me. I knew Tampa Bay, and as a matter of fact, it was 28-0 for a while. Jacksonville tried to come back in that game, but I just felt like Jacksonville is a train wreck, and they're just not going anywhere.
And tell you what, you called it right for the Ravens over San Francisco.
Yeah, but I picked it wrong. You know, even after I said that I thought Baltimore might go in there and beat San Francisco, I turned around this weekend and said defense beats offense every time, and this time they didn't. So I lost the pick. But interesting to see that I still say that could have very well been our Super Bowl preview, although Jerry says he really feels like Seattle.
He poo-pooed the idea. Yeah. So in progress now, it's the Rams in Arizona, and it looks like Rams are ahead in that one, which is okay with me because I picked them. And the Chargers, let me see, who's at Denver. I picked the Chargers, but Denver's in a lead.
Now, this is a surprise. I had actually changed my pick this weekend to Denver. Then this morning, I saw a headline that said that Denver was starting a rookie quarterback. And I was like, oh, boy, rookie quarterback first start. Doesn't matter who he's playing. He's not going to do that well, especially against the Gruden defense, which Gruden's always kind of aggressive. But
he's got 7 points on.
I'm telling you, they're winning. So
Kansas City and Oakland. I'm in for Kansas City. They're ahead of Oakland right now, 7-0. And then there's the New England-Houston game. And you have flipped on this one now.
I really have. No, I'm going to go ahead and take my hometown team, Houston, and this is why. Again, I talked to you about the win pattern. Patterns mean a lot to me. That's been loss, win, win. That pattern's been repeated 3 times this season, and they are on the loss, win portion of that pattern, repeating again if they win today. The other thing is, and this is something that was making the rounds, a lot of the New England players are sick. They've come down with the flu. Many of their starters just aren't even going to be playing in the game. This has got even the New England fans saying, wow, I don't really think we're going to win this game. And quite frankly, you can't win them all. New England dropped 1 this year. This is probably going to be the next one they're going to drop. Houston is a no-slouch team, especially at home. So I do. I think Houston's going to take this one. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be like a 27-24. But I really think Houston will pull it out. And if I'm wrong, then I just missed the pick.
Yeah, well, and life is already hard enough for me. Like I said, with all these games that have been played, total points is 5. I'm going to wait out the New England. I'm a believer in them, so I'm going to stay with them. And I like Seattle. I like what Seattle's been able to do this year. I think they're going to beat Minnesota. Yeah. We'll see how that plays out in the next little bit. And we're talking about our football pick'ems. Hopefully, you and your teams are doing all right, or this is not a weekend of heartbreak for you. 8:33 in the morning, and that's all the time we got to pretend to talk about sports. We'll remix into some headlines here in a second. Do I need to take a break here? All right, and come right back with Monticello Tyron.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
I see it, 8:34 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Good luck with you and your pick'ems and whatever sports is occupying your head as we move into the holiday season. We got time now for headlines. We didn't do it in the last hour because I had a big shot on line 1, but we'll revert back to the way things are supposed to be. This newscast being brought to you by Auntie Loli and the people over at Diamond Remax, but mostly Auntie Loli. She's got all kinds of great properties that she can show you if you're interested in buying or renting someplace, but maybe you've got a piece of property that you want to sell. This lady knows where all the buyers are. Call Auntie Loli Camet at 688-6743, 688-6743. Now, with news from the Guam Daily Post, here's Monticello Tyron.
Assistant Secretary of Interior Douglas Domenech is on island this week, and among a number of other things he'll be doing here, he'll be holding, along with the Office of Insular Affairs, a World Heritage Workshop with Pacific Island historic preservation folks. Domenech says the Pacific Islands are underrepresented in the World Heritage realm, and his hope is to link everyone together to guide the islands and territories in getting on the list and improve efforts related to historic preservation. While some residents of Jotnya begin the process of recalling the sitting mayor, word has it the jailed village mayor may just resign. Jesse Bloss behind bars after his arrest of federal bribery and extortion charges. The mayor's council says they've been informed that Bloss is waiting for advice from his attorney, but is considering stepping down. And while the holidays provide joy and cheer for many, this time of year can prove stressful for some. A 24-hour hotline for those struggling emotionally during the holidays is now up and running. Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness hosts the hotline and provides support and counseling for those in need. You can call 647-8833 for support anytime, day or night. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, pick up a copy of the paper or log on to their website at postguam.com.
8:36 in the morning, and that's iConnect time. Give them a call. Their number is 888-8888, and ask them about how they can save you some money on mobile, internet, even push-to-talk plans. They're the only guys that do it on Guam at iConnect.
Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
As the busy holiday season approaches, the last thing on your mind is to visit your medical provider. At American Medical Center, we put your health first. A preventative visit will ensure a healthy holiday season. Call 647-8262, and together we can address any concerns you may have and make certain all your medications are current. From our family to yours, happy holidays from American Medical Center, your partner in healthcare.
8:37 in the morning, and a quick note here from a friend of ours says, "Hi, Ray. Thanks for your concern and caution for those with relatives in the Philippines, especially in the Bicol area, which is in the path of the typhoon. Jane is from there and now staying at Sorsogon City. This is in the southern part of Bicol. They are used to typhoons, but still scared every time there's a big one coming, and it looks like there's a big one coming in that direction. Mike and I will keep an eye on it. But yeah, if you know some folks that are in that area of the Philippines, then drop them a line and tell them that we are thinking about them. And if it's really bad, I'm sure that we'll organize some kind of relief from around here for friends and family out there. 8:38 in the morning. Is it time to take a look? It's the music for right now traffic, so I assume maybe it's time for me to open that up and see what things are like if you're hitting the road right about now. It's not so bad getting out of the northern end of town. It's a whole lot of central noise that I'm seeing up on the gizmo here. Certainly 10 and 15 out in Mangilau is running busy this morning. 8, 10, and 16 a little bit busy, but it's like disjoint. It's not centralized, like right there between Happy Mart and the 76 Circle K. A little bit of traffic on Route 8 past that area and on the way to the school. A little bit of traffic over by the post office, but it clears up by the time you get to the intersection. And then there's this crazy northbound static that I'm seeing right, and it looks like it will conclude right about the fire station. But expect some delays northbound at one of the 19 different intersections that we've got to suffer through on Route 8 now. Did they ask the natives if we wanted that? No. They never asked. They just put it up there. And then looking at Marine Corps Drive, what do we got here? South of here, this intersection, over by the intersection that takes you into the airport, that's busy. And then you've got all of the intersections that go down to the ITC building and the old Pizza Hut area. We expect some delays both northbound and southbound. Don't see any accidents, just crappy driving. 20 away from 9, that's right now traffic on the point.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Steamroller? Maybe? I don't know. I just thinking, we have to be careful, right? Because we get that whole copyright thing with Facebook. All right, so that means that we can only play like songs that they're in the public domain.
Yeah, because if we didn't, believe me, we would be littered with Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
And Mannheim Steamroller.
20 away from 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm glad we're getting close to that. I'm glad that there are lights and things like that that are out there in Skinner Plaza, and they've got this big deal over at the Government House. Had Shelley Chrysostomo in last week from Guam Sustainable Cultures, and she was talking about going up there. You go up there and then vote for your favorite tree, and all of the trees are made with recycled or upcycled goods. And just because it's Shelley and I like them, I want you to make sure that you put some support for those guys. Now that's the administration. That's the administration's version of Christmas. There's now going to be a legislative version of Christmas. I got leaked to me. Where is it? I gotta find the leaker. I gotta find the guy that leaked it to me. And hold on, almost there. This comes out from the Committee on Rules. Senator Regine Bisco-Lee, along with Speaker Tina Rose Munya-Barnes, would like to announce the Legislatura en Guam's parade of Christmas trees. Yay! Beginning Friday, December 6th at the Guam Congress Building lobby. Now, this is what they're doing with taxpayer money to compete with the governor and the taxpayer money that is going to support the big light show and the display on top of the museum. We are requesting that all senatorial offices provide one 6-foot, artificial or real, Christmas tree decorated by your staff or partner organization to be featured within the Guam Congress building. All senatorial offices that are participating, please register by Monday with the protocol office, or you may reply to this email. Please indicate if your office or partner organization will be decorating. Spacing will be on a first-come, first-served basis. Deadline for the trees to be completed will be Thursday, in time for the Legislatura en Guam's Parade of Christmas Trees, which will take place on Friday. And I'd just like to know, keep the receipts, guys. If you are a senator and you actually send somebody to the store to buy with actual taxpayer dollars 6-foot Christmas trees, I want your name so I can go on the radio and tell people not to vote for you. Because I don't think that is an adequate use of the taxpayer dollars.
A parade of trees is actually pretty hard to pull off, man, because trees don't like it when you make them walk.
They ain't got no legs. They don't got no legs under those trees. So I'm sure it's a nice thing, but are we gonna have to use taxpayer dollars for this? Is there someplace else where you can get the money to go out and buy yourself a 6-foot tree just so you can say I have a 6-foot tree? My senatorial office has a 6-foot tree and the parade of trees that nobody's gonna see. It's not like people are gonna go and watch the light show at Skinner Plaza and they go, hey, there's a parade of trees over at the legislature.
They should take a book from our own page, a page from our own book here. Yeah, we're very unassuming in our Christmassy-ish tree. It's a very small tree,
right?
Little tiny tree.
I'm trying to see if I can get. I don't think I can get it on the screen. And now that there's a girl here, we might do a little bit by way of decorating in the studio. What? You're making a face.
You mean we're going to talk her into decorating for us?
Well, she's a girl. She likes to do that kind of thing. Mana likes to decorate. You should see her house. It's very nice, very Christmassy, very festive. I'm just saying.
I'm not allowed that part of town.
But anyway, it's 8:44 in the morning. I'm looking at this going, okay, can we waste any more of the people's resources and time on this? Just next time, just say, look, we'll work with the administration. We'll both take credit for the deal. Of course, there's other stories where it's getting very, very clear that the days of us working together and sharing our optimism and our hopes and joys for the future, I think it's just about done. Where's the story? It's on one of the newspapers somewhere where Joe S. in Augustin is basically saying that $22 million that you guys think you got, yeah, you can't touch that money. You can't spend that money. That's for us to be able to determine how that money gets spent.
Denied.
$22 million cannot be spent. It may not be appropriated without legislative advice and consent. So if you want to see what the battle royale is going to be here, is $22 million worth of push and pull between now the administration, who believes that's theirs now because it's extra money, we didn't see that coming in the budget, and the legislature that says, yeah, fine, it's extra money, but you can't spend it without our appropriation. Right, Jimmy Moylan? Right, Senator Jim Moylan? Where are you, buddy? Well, I pressed the button. I can't hear him. Michael! I think you have to press a button on your side. Unfortunately, he's not in the room right now. 8:45. You just hold on there and stay where you are until Mike gets in. But like I said, it just seems to me like wow. How do I want to say this? Guys, get over yourselves. It's Christmas. You want to do something in the office, find some volunteer money and find some dough that has not already been otherwise appropriated and do that with the other. But is it now time for the love fest between the girls at the legislature and the girls at the Adeloop? Has that concluded now? Can we now anticipate that there's going to be the battle royale? Do me a favor. I think you need to press the button on the phone. Because I don't hear Jimmy. There he is. Okay. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Oh, very good, Ray. Good morning to you.
Good morning back at you. But notwithstanding the most recent comments from Joe St. Augustine about $22 million can't be spent without the advice and consent of the legislature, you think there's anything to that?
Whoever's in control kind of pulls the drawstrings where the legislature is supposed to control the pocketbooks, right? And appropriate money, but things happen, and we're waiting for. I think Senator Therese Chalahi was wondering where's that $10 million that was supposed to come from this surplus that's supposed to go to GMH and not yet put into it.
And that's in the budget law.
Yes, we did. We did, coming from the surplus, which the executive said no. We want it should be prioritized to the debt. And nobody came from BBMR or the executive branch there to give their input on her bill during the public hearing. So we'll see. You know, one saying one thing, the other saying the other thing, but it's kind of a draw. So it's going to come down to, I guess, who's going to be the quickest on the gun to pull the trigger and to see where that money is going to go, which we haven't seen. Where is the actual amount? What is the actual total? So I'm still waiting for that.
We're not going to tell.
Yeah.
The fiscal year is over. We know that there's extra money. Could be up as high as $22 million. Could be less. But I don't know. Is it possible that some of that went into paying for the mural and now paying for the light show over at the museum? I don't know.
I don't know. hard to say, but that's a good point too. We're having this Christmas display at the Guam Legislature, which I'm sure will look beautiful too. And I received my notice to pick your spot and get your tree decorated by a certain time, but I'm going to pull it out of pocket. And I'm just wondering, if we just all senators, there's 15 of us, donated $20 each out of our pocket, for one tree. And
why do we need 15 trees? Why does there need to be 15? Let's just have one big, massive legislature tree.
Right. And you can ask the school kids come over and donate and decorate it, and we can donate to the school kids as well. So not using government employees at the same time. So,
we got to spend money. It's got to be pretty. We got to, we've got to keep up with Adeloop and the incredible display of Christmas might that they have put out over at Skinner Plaza and at the governor's house. Here we are at the legislature in our brand new building. We need to have a parade of trees. That nobody's going to see except legislative employees. That'll be fun. Okay, but anyway, that's just me. So now I don't know why you need to have a town hall meeting. And we know that the governor's, according to at least one report over the weekend, says that the governor has got a plan for dealing with the crime wave that's up and all of the different assaults that are taking place in our community and drunk and drug drivers and things like that. They've already got a plan. Why do you need to have more town hall meetings, Jim?
That's a darn good question. If she got a plan, I was excited when I saw, I think that was Sunday morning's newspaper.
Yeah.
I saw the front page, the plan, so I read it thoroughly, and I read it twice, but I didn't see the plan.
Oh.
So there must be some big announcement coming out, which I hope, right? I'm looking forward to that. And actually today I have a meeting with the Chief Ignacio as well. regarding my plan that I got a couple of bills just waiting to get on the floor or get a public hearing for. One is how do we expedite the processing of these folks that are interested in becoming peace officers, whether it be Department of Corrections, Customs, Guam Police, Agriculture. These folks, there's a lot of red tape that we have to go through now, but I consider it a state of emergency that we can eliminate that red tape. And we have a meeting upcoming with Director Byrne as well to try to push this bill forward just for this critical time that we can get a list of names to help our government and to help the governor.
Well, I kind of like to know what's holding up the process here. Why does it seem to take so long for these guys? I mean, I get it. We're talking about law enforcement officials. There's a certain amount of training that you have to have, a certain educational expectations that you have to meet for the job. I get it. But is that the holdup? Where do we find the biggest impediment to new hires in the government of Guam? Or is it possible? And I've thrown this idea out. There are plenty of guys in law enforcement at different places, airport police, port police, there's a bunch of guys in uniforms with badges and guns, right? If these guys have met some of the minimal requirements in order to wear a uniform and carry a weapon and be a peace officer, then it seems to me that we might be able to put them in a squad car or a motorcycle and have them start cruising around in the villages doing cop stuff. And you're going to say, well, who's going to be the park police, Ray? Who's going to be the port police? And I was get those guys in the yellow shirts. You know, just use them up to the limits of whatever their authorities are. Let them go and run around the parks and the beaches and enforce the laws there. And free up anybody else, like I said, that has got the training to be able to carry a weapon and strap on a badge and let them go out and be law enforcement.
Yeah, the Neighborhood Watch is another great example, and we have another bill waiting to be heard too, empowering the Neighborhood Watch to give tickets, to give citations, do the things that, they're all excited.
Oh, I'd join the Neighborhood Watch if I could carry my gun. If I could walk around with my gun around the village, that'd be cool. Me and like two or three of my neighbors, because we're always strapped, bro. I think it'd just be crazy fun. We just find guys, spitting on the sidewalk. Go get him, Jim. I'll cover you.
Okay. I think that's Joe St. Augustine's bill there, too.
Well, which is another bill that hasn't had a public hearing. Here we are in the middle of a crime wave, and we got people that are, home invasioning, and we got a poor woman got banged over the head by a fat thug up in Dededo. And that's not being. We need to do a better job of making people angry and upset about that. That's not just a random crime. That's a random crime against a woman. And you know what? We've got all of these violent activities here. You take a look at the magistrate reports, and hardly a day goes by where you don't have one idiot that goes home in a bad mood and starts beating on his wife or common law or whatever. We need to do something about putting again a halt to the crime against women in this community.
Absolutely, and this was on Thanksgiving. A senior lady at a barber shop, and who would have known at broad daylight, right? Just when she's opening up there, it was terrible. Yeah, all on the same street where the child was raped further down at the store.
Yeah.
So yes, but we're still having these public call or public safety forums in each of the villages, and we're hearing it. We're hearing it often, and I'm not going to stop listening, but it helps me just reiterate the voices of the people. Just saying, come on. It's
okay. Now
these things are, the pretty things are nice out there. The Christmas decorations, that's great. The other things that we want to do, I'm sure, the fest pack and so forth. But really, I think we got to focus on a few things, and that's public safety, especially now in Guam Memorial Hospital.
Well, GMH, now we've got another doctor coming out at GMH, and this guy, I mean, they can't get rid of him. I mean, they need all the hands in the emergency room that they can get, but this guy's coming out saying that the Fed needs to come and investigate what's going on at Guam Memorial Hospital.
Right.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of damning, and I know this guy, and he's not one that is a shoot from the hip kind of guy. I think he's put some analysis and some thought in it, and sees things that aren't going the right way at Guam Memorial Hospital. That's pretty clear. And then you've got the situation over at the Department of Corrections. Frankie Shizaki not on the job for one day before they find a dead guy. Actually, he was alive when they found him, but just barely, and now he's dead. Reports on the front page of the Daily Post about four corrections officers that have been assaulted because it's just them against 70 guys, I guess. So we've got some real clear problems around here. But if you want the distraction, then I guess that'll be sufficient. 8:55 in the morning. When is the town hall up in Dedido?
Let me get that date here. I know it's coming up. I believe it's next week. I got to send you the flyer on that one there, Ray.
Okay, and now for completeness, and this is me completely being snarky with you, my good friend. Which Republican potential candidate will be the star of the Dedido town hall meeting?
That'd be Senator Jim Moylan.
Whatever. Okay, who are you bringing with you? Who's coming with? Because the last time we had what's his name, the old chief.
Yes, that will be
J.I.
Right, J.I. Cruz. He's he's invited with his experience from his past being the chief of police. We have Bob Camacho from his experience being at Department of Corrections. There's
Bob should totally run. Bob should totally run. Can I just say this? If he ran, I would vote twice. I would find a way.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like I did for you.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If people wondering, how do you do that, Ray? Okay, it's simple. You just don't vote for all 15 on one side, and you vote for Jim Moylan over here. You fill in the oval, and then write in Jim Moylan. That's what you want to do. That's how you want to treat that. So I'm just curious because I think these are wonderful platforms. If you are a potential Republican senatorial candidate and you'd like to get a little bit of traction, this is a no-brainer. You will find votes there because we're talking about Dedido, which is in the midst of a crime spree. Anybody that comes up there showing the least interest in turning that around and making Dedido a nice, quiet, good place to raise your kids' neighborhood again is going to be at this hearing, at this town hall. So if you're a potential representative of the Republican sort, then you need to be there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And in all fairness, we invited all the senators to it. It is a public, open to the public as well.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of people you work with over there that are just daffy and don't need to be in the legislature much longer. So the less face time they get, the better.
All right. Okay.
It must, Monday and the first of the month. I don't know. There's some weird. Is it Mercury in retrograde? Everybody's snarky today. I got snarky producer over there. Mana's a little bit snarky because she only won $300 in the cockfight. That's just fun. All right, 8:58 and change. Jimmy, you have a fantastic day. Where are we beer summiting tonight?
Oh, that sounds great. How about our regular one just around the corner? The closer, the better.
Yeah, I think I like that. Last time we were all together, it was me and Jim and the guys, and we were talking. We were having a good time, and I finished the one beer I had. I finished the beer, and they said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I got to go meet with the Democrats now. I got to play it fair, Anyway, I'll talk to you pretty soon, Jimbo.
Thank you.
Have an awesome day. 888-8255-888-TALK. I'm sorry, but it's true. Closing in on 9 o'clock. But the last time I ran into the triumvirate of Democrats, I might have mentioned this to you. I walked in and I said, "What you guys talking about?" And they said, "You." I said, "What?" And they said, "Literally, the last thing to come out of my mouth was your name." I'm like, dude, I win. That's winner right there. I don't know what the heck they were talking about, but it must have been interesting if my name came up in it. I don't know. Do you think there's any kind of possible influence that I might have from here? I don't know. 888-8255 is the telephone number around here. And I got this word here. I was talking about a fundy for Catherine Guerlain Cagiel. It will take place Friday night, 6 until 10, at the A-Class Bar. And somebody sent me the directions. It is above the game room across St. John's. Does that narrow it down for you? Game room, St. John's, and then go upstairs. That's where all of the runners are going to be on Friday night. Getting ready for a bunch of runs this weekend. Remind me to tell you about that maybe in the next hour. Is it 9 already? Heading into the small talk portion of the program, it's the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 KUSG. I'll get you. This is The Point.
Deadline come and gone and possibly missed. I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News. The president and his legal team had until 6 p.m. today to say whether they will participate in an impeachment hearing on Wednesday. Fox's Kevin Cork says the inquiry is moving forward.
As the inquiry shifts to the Judiciary Committee from the Intelligence Committee, whose members will be able to review a draft of their impeachment report on Monday before voting to forward their findings on to Chairman Nadler Tuesday. For President Trump, the resumption of the hearings might seem a cold reality, following a warm welcome by U.S. service personnel during his surprise visit to Afghanistan on Thanksgiving, a brief respite from the war on terror to visit with the commander-in-chief.
GOP committee member Doug Collins says he hopes to call Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff to testify.
It's easy to hide behind a report. It's easy to hide behind a gavel in intelligence committees, behind closed-door hearings. But it's going to be another thing to actually get up and have to answer questions about what his staff knew, how he knew, what he did about the whistleblower report, his interactions that he's had with Ukraine.
Collins appeared on Fox News Sunday, and Democratic Congressman Hakeem Jeffries on the same program says the hearings do have public support.
I think 70% of the American people indicated that the president did something wrong. That said, our job is to follow the facts, apply the law, be guided by the U.S. Constitution, and present the truth to the American people, no matter where it leads, because no one is above the law.
Meantime, hundreds of flight cancellations across the country as Mother Nature unleashes a powerful holiday weekend storm. Fox's Matt Finn reports from Chicago.
Some of the worst delays right now are in San Francisco and Newark, Boston, and New York's JFK Airport. Departures are running about 70% on time. Arrivals in JFK right now doing much better at about 90%. Washington Dulles not looking great so far either.
Delays up to 506 canceled flights at the moment. America is listening to Fox News.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
An easily overlooked part of covering our home is what's inside of it. Over time, we buy things we don't want to lose, but don't update our contents coverage. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
The holiday season is here, and it gives us pause to reflect on the abundance of 2019 and to express our gratitude for Guam, the island we call home, and to all Guamanians. Our team here at Security Title is proud of the work we do to support ourselves and our families, to serve and care for our customers, and to give back to our community. May this season of joy and the new year bring happiness, good health, and prosperity to you and yours. Merry Christmas from all of us at Security Title.
President Trump is back in Washington, but he won't be staying here for long. Fox's Eben Brown.
He's scheduled on Monday to fly to London for the meeting of the heads of the NATO member states, where he has working lunches and press conferences all on his schedule.
And the Iraqi Prime Minister's resignation now formally accepted by Parliament, but the path to replacing Adel Abdul Mahdi is clouded by legal questions. Security forces killed one protester over the weekend during anti-government demonstrations. British police have identified 2 people killed by an Islamist terrorist in the London Bridge attack. Fox's Jillian Turner.
Saskia Jones, just 23 years old, and Jack Merritt, 25, both killed by a terrorist wielding kitchen knives and a fake suicide vest who went on this stabbing spree Friday morning in London. The UK's National Health Service said one of the people injured in the attack has returned home. And some good news, but 2 others remain in a local hospital in London. They are both in stable condition. Now, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn's making the case that government cutbacks play a role in the rise of terrorist attacks across the UK. 8 attacks alone in London over the last 2 years.
And over the weekend, Mexico saw 21 deaths after clashes between police and suspected cartel members. President Andrés Manuel López Obrador marks 1 year in office. High times are coming to another state. Details from Fox's Paul Stevens.
The door opening Sunday to recreational marijuana sales in Michigan. State officials saying last week that businesses already with the proper license to grow, process, or sell medical marijuana can now transfer half of that inventory to the recreational market with the proper license. More recreational licenses are expected to be approved soon. A larger amount of recreational marijuana won't be widely available in Michigan until licensed growers can harvest a first crop, possibly in March or April.
I'm Jessica Stone, Fox News.
Ever notice how that one perfect holiday gift is just out of reach? Or how sales on the stuff you want all come at the same time? This season, plan ahead with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. Now you can afford to be nice without being naughty. For more details, visit FHB.com or any branch to apply. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Knowing that we have choices in medical providers locally and outside of Guam is important and reassuring. This is the reason why Calvo Select Care provides quality health care options to its members. From a wide array of local, primary, and specialty doctors and clinics to a comprehensive hospital network on island and outside of Guam, you can trust Calvo Select Care to be there for you. Federal employees and annuitants enroll today. Call 477-9808 for more information.
On my microphone, welcome back to the Ray Gibson Show, and here it is, the part where I get to tell you a couple of people that bring the program to you. American President Lines have been sponsored since the very beginning of this program, and they continue to do it with their global presence, and a local home is also being brought to you by the guys over at Wendy's, and the truth of the matter is, they won't let anybody else do live reads for them. You might hear on another radio station, you might hear other people doing live reads, but they'll never be the kind of live reads that they get here on this program, because I'm familiar with the product, you see. I'm familiar with all of the things that I send to you to go and try over at Wendy's. So when we're talking about the great salads that they have there and how you can hack them, I'm the guy that knows how to do that stuff. And if it was me, and they said, Ray, you could eat only one thing from Wendy's for the rest of your life, what would it be? And as tough as that decision would be, I'd break it down and say, for breakfast, it would have to be the fried chicken with the white gravy on the scrambled eggs. And now I'd hack that up a little bit. I'd ask him to make it with the fried rice, not white rice. I'm not big on white rice. I mean, if I got to do the rice thing, I got to want plenty of flavor in it, right? So I want it on the fried rice with hot coffee over here and a couple of dashes of Tabasco. Just not a lot, just a couple of dashes to give it a little bit more zing on the white gravy. So you can, and here's the thing, that's only $4. It's $4. Everything I just told you about, it's a big platter. It's only $4. Now, don't you want to go and get one at Wendy's? I thought so.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yes, I still have the sniffles because I refuse to do what everybody else do on the weekends, and that is, get some rest. There's just too much going on, and I feel like if I'm not there with you, then I'm going to miss something fun, and I don't want to be sitting around on Monday and go, hey, what'd you do all weekend? And then I hear, oh, it was much better than me. I just sat on the couch and watched Netflix shows. Although I did get a little bit of Netflix time in, and if I can do it in less than a couple of seconds, I'll tell you what it was that I was watching. And it's a Filipino movie. There's not enough English in it for you to just be able to put it up on the screen and watch it. But Filipino movie about a general. And it's I want to say General Luna was the guy's name.
Yeah, I actually a friend of mine who has recently passed away actually did a guest role in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, a gentleman named Jerry Cornejo, actually very accomplished radio talent over in the Philippines. I worked with him when we launched DZRJ in Manila back in 2010.
Wow.
But he did a little guesting in some movies and got a chance to do quite a bit of guesting in this particular show.
Well, I thought it was very, very well done. I mean, in terms of production values and the story, I thought the story was actually pretty good as well. So it's possible I might finish. I didn't make it to the end of that, and then there's the De Niro movie is out.
That's right. Yeah, the Irishman or something.
The Irishman.
Yeah.
And I started some of that last night, and it's one of those I've got to go back to it because it feels like the continuation of the mix between Godfathers and Goodfella. Mm. You know, it has this feeling, and you're going, okay, I like those mafia yarns, and so I think I'm going to like what I'm seeing there. On Facebook Live here, we've got a couple of things going on. I see there's my pal Yuka Hechanova and Joey Chotfris. Yoli Elliott is online. Richard Leone, Casper, Connie, Ferger Dutkowitz are online. So is Pam Duvall. who wants to know about the town hall meeting. As soon as Jimmy sends me the paperwork, I'll see if I can post it up for you. We were talking about different ways to deal with crime. Chris Chip says keep the tourist security in Tumon. They're more amiable towards tourists and not so intimidating. You need the cops and sworn police out in the community. I agree with that. To the degree that there are not enough cops, but we do have a number of people in different forms of law enforcement here, and I'm saying that everybody needs to pull on the same rope. If you've got a gun and a badge, guess what? You're a cop. And I don't care what uniform you wear now. I don't care what department or agency that you came out of. You are going to be a cop until we can hire more people to be cops. What you were doing before, we can hire guys. We can hire security guys, deputize them, and give them, I don't know, tasers or something like that, just to keep the rabble down at the ports. And what is it? The majority of the stuff that the port police do, what are they go by USO and chase guys that are drinking there in the corner off. That might be among the big things that they do, on top of other responsibilities that they have. But, we don't need a law enforcement guy to do that. I mean, anybody that, is wearing some kind of a uniform ought to be able to push the rabble off. My thoughts.
Yeah, don't we have a provision here for armed security guards?
Armed security?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's such a thing. I don't know that.
They do it everywhere else.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I'd have to call somebody over at G4S and find out whether or not these guys can legally carry a weapon in what they do as security personnel.
Right, yeah. I mean, there have to be certain special provisions that be made.
I know what kind of thinking, security guy you're thinking about is, you and I are the same. We go to Manila and virtually every store has got a guy in uniform and he's got a chrome, what is it, a crowd scatterer.
They usually got a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah, big shotguns is what they've got. And okay, so the uniforms the ladies wear. But anyway, but getting to the point, there's, we get, and I think that's provided for in law. If you're in business, doing business somewhere, you've got to have armed security there.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, well, if you don't want to get robbed, you do.
Yeah. So now, I also know this from going to Manila. You and I could sneak a weapon into practically any place we're not supposed to have a weapon because you get these guys at the front and they kind of pretend to look in your bag. Right. And okay, go ahead. And I've seen people practically open their bags like, oh my God, here, look inside, and they'll just kind of wash their eyes or waft their eyes over it, and then you keep moving, and you just know. I've walked into department stores with my knife before.
And I have too. I mean, they'll wave the little wand, and then they go, okay, well, what do you have here? And then I just take my knife out and say, well, that's just my pocket knife, which actually it's kind of bigger than pocket knife. But anyway, yeah.
So that's where we are. Who's playing around here? Somebody asking online about the cost of electricity here on Guam. Joey Charfer says, why is the fuel recovery charge almost double the power generated? Because that's the most expensive part of making electricity here on Guam is buying Tapas crude out of Singapore and bringing it to Guam and then running that into our machines. It's probably the most expensive fuel that you can find in this part of the world. The only advantage that we have to get it is it's close. Between here and there for what turns into our electricity. And so 15 cents? That number is going to go down, though. Your fuel recovery charge, that number is going to go down. Simon and I have been talking about this once a week for the last couple of weeks. It was before the CCU. CCU has approved it. Now it's going to the Public Utilities Commission, where they will take up the question on either leaving it the same or reducing it. And they've done the mathematics over at the Power Authority and believe that they ought to be able to reduce the fuel surcharge on your bill. And I think that's a good one. Nate Orange says, Irishman is awesome. I'm guessing Scorsese will be nominated again. Oh, nice. Okay. Only the Irishman. LOL, says Gus Jasangus. And what is it? Only the Irishman. There's something in there about full-size vehicles. Nick says, they need to bring back motorcycle patrols. My brother-in-law rode a bike for GPD. Quick, consume less gas than a full-size vehicle. They ride in pairs. Great presence. I agree. And you know where you can find a whole bunch of motorcycles that nobody is using? At the Guam International Airport. Next time you go there, go down. Next time the traffic is bad in front of the airport, go through the airport and go through the the arrival side. because they've got motorcycles there. I want to say that there's a couple of motorcycles parked in the front. They look like lions in front of a library, and I think there's a couple of other motorcycles in the back. Now, my understanding is that guys that know how to ride the bikes will take the bikes out. Guys that don't know how to ride the bikes need to get training, and the last thing I think I heard was that the guy that does the training for GPD and the airport police, et cetera, on motorcycles, like retired or something, and there's nobody that's got the certifiable chops to get these guys out on the roads in the motorcycles. But I agree. I think they're visible. I think that they provide an incredible deterrent. And I will remember the summer of 1983. Do you remember that summer? Elliptico, Adriatico, and Marquez were the names of these three bandits that we had. And they started making friends by shooting up, what was the name of it? Was it a VFW they shot up? Then they killed a couple of cops. And these guys were on the lam and moving day and night all the time. And after they shot the police officers, not too far away from my house, as a matter of fact, after the cops had been shot, then if you saw a police officer, he also had a shotgun. And there were more than one or two patrols, I recall, up and down Tumon, a bunch of guys on motorcycles. Looked like a gang, and a heavily armed gang at that. And these guys, they were packing on their sides, and virtually every single one of them had a shotgun, on some kind of deal on their body. I mean, one of those things where they could just pull it right out and start shooting at anybody, because you never knew who it was going to be. And the guys that were shot, I think they were shot with that thing, was a basic traffic stop. I'd have to look it up. It was a long time ago, but that's the memory that I have about cops on motorcycles. You don't see it all that often anymore. And I think, if we've got a vehicle shortage, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that would like to be able to do it on a motorcycle. We used to have Pam's old enough to remember this. You remember we used to have the Guam Highway Patrol. Pam, are you there? I cannot hear. If you're there, I don't hear you. Well, try her again on a different line. But there was once upon a time there was a thing called the Guam Highway Patrol, and maybe someone like Bob Klitsky could riff on this, because he was around back in those days. And there were guys. The obvious joke was the GIPS in the States is California Highway Patrol, but here it was the Guam Highway Patrol, and it didn't rhyme or anything. But everybody still made jokes about it. But it was just nice to have that number of cops out there with a deterrent. And back in those days, the population of the island wasn't all that big. Weren't a whole lot of people living on Guam like there are now. 160,000, we think, maybe 165,000. You know when we'll know for sure? When they're done with the census. And they're still hiring for that, right? There is going to be another job fair for census guys. Enumerators is what they're looking for. It will be tomorrow from 10 until 3 over at the Agania Shopping Center. I think I got her now. Hey, Pam, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ray.
It's Bus Stop Betty on the line.
That's right.
I'm not crazy about that nickname for you, I got to say.
Yeah, you can change it if you want to.
I like Pam. Just my friend Pam, who's heart as big as General Delivery, number one, and number two, trying to keep an eye out for her community, for the village, to so that it is not constantly being trashed by. I guess the deal with EPA is they don't know who's doing all the trashing, right?
Well, like they say, it's difficult to identify illegal dumpers, right, without compelling evidence identifying a responsible party.
Yeah.
So how about look in their yards? They're stockpiling trash that must be their trash. Right across the road to their house, next door to their house, it's a dump. So, it's kind of obvious. I know it's hard to tell, I understand being a dump site in the jungle or on some dark road in the boonies. But when it's next to their house or in their yard, why can't they be cited?
They can and should be cited, but I mean they've got the paperwork, and you can say that it's a public health calamity, especially up in Gigo over the aquifer. We don't know what is leaching out from whatever it is that these guys got in the junk piles in front of their house, and how much of that is getting into the aquifer. So an argument could be made that there's a significant public health threat. And that the people that have these houses with junk piled high, floor to ceiling, ought to be made to clean up after themselves.
Exactly. And then, here they're saying with all of this trash, they're responsible for the white goods, the cars, and the tires.
Yeah.
But, Ray, it's all
But there's nobody picking those up either. There's nobody picking those things up either.
They have the money. They have the money. And he's saying, we're going to provide the means to the mayors and to the community to clean up. Well, are they talking about the community of residents that are doing the dumping, or the volunteer community of our island?
The latter, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's the latter, I'm sure, because nobody is going to force these people into a position where they've got to clean up. Now, I'll tell you another one, and this is in my mind one of the reasons why they probably should not have given back all of that property up on Teedson to the original landowners, because as it turns out, the original landowners aren't any good at taking care of their properties up there. There is a guy, and I'm sure you've seen it, but if you haven't, go and take a look. There's a little cutout on the main drag right in front of the warehouses, right? The freight forwarding warehouses. So there's a little bit of a cutout there, and the last house on the south side of that cutout is there's just it's trash bags. It must be 100 trash bags.
Yeah, that's the same thing at Ramirez.
Right, and it's underneath the tree, and the pile is growing every day, and I don't know who is going to have the temerity to go and tell this person that they cannot just stockpile their trash. They've got to get rid of it because it's a public health hazard. Dogs are going to get into that, and the plastic bags are going to eventually rip. Somebody's got to do something about it.
Rats, don't forget the rats. As we speak, more trash is being thrown on a daily basis.
Right.
It's like, honey, take out the trash. On their way to work, it goes out the truck or whatever,
And there's lots of people that do that. They will take their trash and dump it at their boss's trash thing in the front and the side of the building.
Luckily, lately, there's been some cleanup in Gigo on the roadsides. Now, guess what? All the garbage is exposed that's been thrown out all along both sides of the roads.
Yeah.
It's like, look at this. Aren't we pretty,
Well, I guess the thing is that EPA is aware of it, but they seem to be powerless because they can't identify the people that are throwing the trash. And I agree with your point.
Doesn't matter, right?
You don't need to. You can go to somebody's house and see all kinds of trash that's piled up. Eventually, it's going to find its way into the jungle behind the. God, I was so disappointed. I did that turkey trot race on Thursday, and there's always been a section of the turkey trot race that goes between one of the roads and the area in front of the wastewater treatment plant. Anyway, it always been trashed, and they were making a big deal about how it had been cleaned up. And we're okay, thumbs up. The place has been cleaned out. That's nice. But as I was leaving the Two Lovers Point area, somebody had dumped a refrigerator. It didn't even bother to go someplace creative in the boonies to dump it. They just pulled off the side of the road, and it's right there where the tourists can see it. Thanks, guys. And we got to find these people and arrest them.
With EPA allowing this area to have open hazardous waste, they're violating their own rules and regulations by leaving it exposed.
Well, it's the things that we want them to enforce just generally aren't getting enforced.
Yeah.
And there will always be an answer. In fact, that was the same answer that the mayors had been giving for a long time. Is we can issue a citation for the trash, but we've got to prove where the trash came from. But nobody wants to open the bags and go through and see if there's any water bills or power bills or any of that nonsense. And then even then they're worried that because somebody will say, "Oh, that's not mine. That was somebody else's. I don't know how my thing got in there."
Right.
So it's like that.
I hear you.
So the answer, I think you're absolutely right, Pam. Unfortunately, you're not the mayor or the governor. so show up at. I got information. You were asking about when the town hall that for Jimmy is going to be. The Dededo Public Safety Forum will be on the 12th of December, 12/12, 6 p.m. at the Senior Citizen Center up in Dededo.
Thank you, Ray. I'll be there to ask about the tire dumping that's still there on Marine Drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be prepared. Be prepared for Be prepared for the same excuses.
I'm going to write them again.
It'll all be the same excuses again.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
well, you just got to expose them, you know.
There
will be another letter to EPA. So keep your eyes open.
You need to take pictures of some of these spots, some of these homes. Homes, and go after them, and then have them talk to the guys over at the Department of who's that?
Public health.
No, not necessarily public. I'm thinking of the guys, the land use, Chamorro Land Trust.
Oh yeah, land trust.
Yeah. So how many of these properties, the same ones that you're talking about, that are supposed to be being farmed? There's supposed to be something else is supposed to be going on that
farming trash.
Besides farming trash, I took the other day, my daughter and I, we took the old road to get to Auntie Mana's house, right? So we went through the road that takes you by Carbolito Elementary, and it's just that used to be a nice place. That used to be a nice place, but now it's you got all of these houses, and somebody is being allowed to do mechanic work up there, and it's just car after car. The place looks like a junkyard.
Oh, yeah, we have a bunch of those in Gigo. It's just yards full of cars that are just, trees growing through them. It shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be responsible for their own lot.
Yep.
Cleanup needs to be done,
And just identify the property and say, you've got to clean this up. We'll come in and clean it up, and then we're going to give you a bill. But this place is going to get cleaned up, and after it is cleaned up, then you're responsible to maintain it for the rest of your life. It's too bad we have to tell people that, but I guess that's where we've come after all of these years of growth and development. We'll see what happens. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
With a new name, Ray. My new name is I'm the Village Auntie.
The Village Auntie. You know what? Nothing wrong with that. I think every village, back in the old days, the saying was, nothing gets done until the women folk around here are mad. And it sounds like you're mad enough to get stuff happening.
I'm mad, Ray.
Go get him. Go get him, Pam.
Have a good day.
I already did. You have a good day, too. It's 9:27. When you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're pretty sure you know what kind of day you're going to have just from those first I actually woke up early. I was telling my friend Kat, I actually woke up a little bit earlier. I was, in that fitful kind of sleep that I've been having lately. I swear it's like jet lag. Because sometimes I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's it. I'm awake for the rest of the. I might try to close my eyes. I might screw my eyes shut or pull the covers over my eyes and fight to get back to sleep. Rarely ever works. It worked this morning. So I woke up at the usual time and then drifted back off to sleep. And about 3:30 or so, I started coming around again, and I was thinking, so 3:30, the alarm goes off at 4. I've got 30 more minutes that I can sleep. This will be 30 minutes. That's all I need, right? Just a little snooze time. And then I remembered I had the interview with Domenech on the phone this morning, and I thought, I think I better wake up a little bit earlier and get a more of a head start on the day here, so that I can ask what feel like intelligent questions of the guy from the office of the Department of Interior while he's here on Guam. Hope it worked out. If you missed it, we did the interview about 7:35-ish or so this morning. It's available as a video on demand. And I might find the link a little bit later on and post it up on the Facebook page. I might not, so you might have to go look for it yourself. 888-825-888-TALK is the telephone number. It's 9:29. We'll take the break now because I got the other governor, Leon Guerrero, wanted to chime in on his get together, the year-end review. Was that yesterday? Well, if you'd have done it at Jimmy D's, I would have been there. Just saying. iConnect time is 9:30. Swing by the nearest iConnect and ask about totally different clientele in it. Ask about how they can save you money. 888-8888 is their phone number, and they can do that on mobile and internet and push-to-talk plans.
Hey, what's that?
A Subway Big Hot Pastrami. My Big Hot Pastrami?
No, my Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Get your own.
Get your own Subway Big Hot Pastrami. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked sunflower crunch bread, topped with pickles and mustard. Finish off your meal with all new seasoned potato wedges, baked to perfection right in the restaurant. Both available for a limited time only. Subway, make it what you want.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Guam Daily Post reporting this morning that a dead body has been found in a car parked at the Micronesia Mall. One person was found dead inside a car parked near the garage at the Micronesia Mall. It's a developing story. I'm looking at the traffic gizmo to see if there's any traffic issues in that area. And as you might imagine, that the traffic is moving very slowly from the road 27 Alpha up into the back parking lot of the Micronesia Mall, where the body has apparently been found. A developing story again. Found dead body in a parked car at the Micronesia Mall. If we get an update on this before the end of the program, I'll be happy to share it with you. If not, then go to Guam Daily Post and download their app. They've got an app at the Daily Post, and you'll get a message whenever there is big breaking news like this one here. Dead body found in a parked car at the Micronesia Mall. 9:31. The other Governor, Leon Guerrero, is on the line. Good morning, Ken LG. How are you, bud?
I am fine. I'm actually in competition with Senator Klitsky, because he and I are raising funds for the Ethics Commission.
Oh.
And right now, he's ahead of me. He's got $2,000 donated to the Ethics Commission, and I've only got $1,000 donated to the Ethics Commission. But I hope that today I will tie with Senator Klitsky.
Well, who are you going? Who you trying to get money from?
Chief of Police. I just served a verbal FOIA, and I got the tap dance about why they can't give it to me. And so I gave them notice on record that they have been served. They have 4 days to deliver the information or explanation why they can't deliver it. In which case, I know that they're not going to deliver it. I'm pretty sure. I'm about 97%. They're not going to deliver it because of political considerations.
Yeah.
Which will make a great adjunct to the presentation that I do on Sunday regarding my year-end review.
Right. And now I want to make sure I've got the dates right. It's going to be at Pirates Cove this coming Sunday.
Yes, December 8th.
Okay. What time are you doing it?
From 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Now, do me a favor. You need to right-click on Troy Torres' name and ask him to go down there with his guys and have him tape it, so that people that cannot be at Jeff's Pirates Cove on Sunday, like perhaps me, will be able to watch it and maybe even watch it live.
Well, that is an excellent suggestion, and I will reach out to Troy.
Yeah, I think because it seems to me that for most of the time, you and Troy are pulling on the same rope.
Yeah, we are. We're just taking different segments of the government under review. We run in parallel, but this would be a good opportunity for our paths to cross.
Cousin Troy is just chimed in. You heard my phone make that noise, the notification noise. That's Cousin Troy says, we will be there.
Great, because, I'm very concerned that we get this event out, because a lot of people keep coming up to me wanting to know if I was going to broadcast it, and I haven't got the technical chops to do broadcasting, but we know Troy does.
Right.
So that would be a big asset because, we're going to be covering a lot of things that are very important to the people of Guam. And with the 2020 campaign season rapidly underway right now, it's important that we start holding these politicians accountable for what they said they were going to do, what they've done or didn't do, so that we can decide whether or not these senators are going to be worth returning to the 36th Guam legislature.
With very few exceptions, I would not. I would be happy if the majority of them were gone. I just, I'm looking. I've been listening, been trying to pay attention, and I still am not seeing anything of real substance coming out of the legislature. I think Jimmy's got some great bills, but they won't let his bills out of committee. I think Tello's got some good bills that she has been able to work through and get those things out. But I'm looking at some of the other stuff that's been passing and getting signed into law and going, okay, where's the beef? What's going on?
That's a very important point you raised right there, because these senators were elected to represent all of us. They weren't just elected to represent the Democrats, And when the Democratic leadership plays these kind of power politic games, they are cheating the voters, because we elected 15 senators. We didn't elect 10.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to do is get all ideas on the table, all ideas out there in debate. And we're going to do a report card based on if the election were held at the end of this year, where we think the senators rank. Because we're going to be keeping score based on the amount of voter-friendly, citizen-friendly legislation that gets introduced and passed compared to the pork barrel politics that get introduced and passed. And that's where we're going to start keeping score on the senators.
I'd like to see something along those lines. Heck, I might even sit down with you and go over some of the bills that have been passed in the 35th Guam legislature. What have we got here? I'm looking for bills introduced and passed in the 35th Guam legislature. That's going to be tough to find here, based on the website. But I'll see what I can find on a couple of things. Just some measures that are out there besides the budget, which is one of the things that they are absolutely supposed to be doing. But now we've got a couple of bills that would seek to make some interesting changes to the way we do elections around here, and the way that people can run for office.
Yeah, that too, and then there's a lot of little pork barrel bills in there that are driving up the cost of living for everybody on Guam that the sponsors and supporters of need to be held accountable for, and the budget is one of them.
Well,
I mean.
So, and I'm going to go back because it's the low hanging fruit here, and this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sorry that there aren't more people that went to the legislature to give them, I think, the common sense side of the equation. There is this bill here that would add the following words: no money collected pursuant to this section shall be used for travel, unless the travel is exclusively for Guam's participation and representation in the Festival of Pacific Arts. The money collected pursuant to this section may be used to pay for airfare expenses for Guam's delegates to FESPAC, shipping expenses for pertinent cargo, and other logistical support as deemed necessary by the governing board of CAHA. Let's just open that door wide as we possibly can to logistical support, whatever the hell that means. Whatever that means. Let's put it under logistical support. We'll take the money from there. But that's what they want to do. The law says it's not supposed to be used for travel, so they're going to corkscrew a new law into existence. And it seems to me, and again, I'm not the lawyer, but it seems to me that you cannot go and proactively or retroactively correct the language of the law. Any money that has been collected pursuant to this section shall not be used for travel, in my mind. Cannot be used for travel. Any money that comes in after this version of the law is passed, and I don't see any reason why the governor would veto it. So it's going to happen. So it seems to me, though, you cannot make it retroactive.
Yeah, you're going down a slippery slope there, when you start doing things like that. But
well, I don't think you can. I don't think legally you can. I need to ask my lawyer, Bob Klitsky, about it, but I don't think that the legislature can, by waving the legislative wand and sprinkling some legislative fairy dust on this, I don't think they can go back and use monies that were collected and law applied to. Anything new after it's passed, yeah, you can have that money.
Yeah, but it goes back to, as long as, see, the politicians were too used in the past to citizens not paying attention to things like this. But what I'm paying attention to is we have so many critical needs on this island. That $400,000 could have hired 8 nurses at Guam Memorial Hospital, which would have freed up the congestion in the hallways in the emergency room. Yeah. Remember, they couldn't send them upstairs because they didn't have enough nurses upstairs. Well, here's $400,000. Go get some nurses. Or remember when Guam Memorial sent out that emergency notice that the elevators are shut down. You will not be able to visit your loved ones in the hospital until further notice. You know?
Yeah, because they needed the one working elevator to so that they could use that to actually move patients between floors where they were where they were sleeping and otherwise recovering and the surgery theaters. There's a no-brainer here. $400,000 could go a long ways towards repairing something like those old. I'll bet you for $400,000 you probably get another. You could probably get fixed 2 over here and replace a whole other 2 on the other side.
You're absolutely right.
I'll bet you can do that. And do we need the Army Corps of Engineers to sort that out? No, I think that's stuff that they ought to be able to figure out on their own over at GMH. I don't understand. Well, I do understand what the problem is, but I don't know. I think it's going to be
fire one of the medical directors, and then we'd have $650,000. To work with,
Yeah, I see the points that you're making there. 19 away from the top of the hour. It certainly is going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see, as these guys now are going to start the campaign process. We are in the holidays, and everybody's going to feel good. But then it's going to be January, February of next year, and the realities of where we are and this new fiscal year and what we're going to be doing without as taxpayers and consumers. I think that's gonna come close to home. And I think there are going to be, more people that will be looking at their elected representatives at the legislature and say, I gave you a shot. I gave you 2 years. I gave you 4 years, and you let me down. And I ain't voting for you here.
Yeah, we're gonna put the mayors under the microscope too, as well, because far too long they have coasted without serious scrutiny by the public. But as we've seen over these past few years, there's something rotten in the Mayor's Council of Guam as well that needs to be addressed, and we're going to be talking about those issues as well, because that's the closest level of government to where people live.
Yep.
Right there in the village.
And that's that for many people, that is the government of Guam, and they're paid a whole lot of money. And I think there are a lot of villagers that would like to see more happening. I'm not one of them. I tell you what, I like my mayor in Mongmong Totomaiti. I may even go to the election commission and say I'm voting there, so I can go ahead and reelect him. I think he does a fantastic job. We've got clean bus stops, and there's somebody that empties a trash can at a bus stop every day, and we've got people that are roaming the sides of the villages, keeping in most of the village that I live in, we don't have a lot of places where there's a lot of tall swordgrass that the thugs can hide behind. Hey, listen, I got to let you run. I got a big name here. Jeff Jones is writing in. We were talking about trash and things like that. Jeff says everybody who owns a car pays $25 a year in their registration into the recycling revolving fund. The recycling fund's original purpose was to take care of used tires, batteries, and white goods. However, the fund, over $20 million, I believe, has been rated for use for so many other purposes that it's no longer available for its original intent. It has been used to buy new pickups for the mayors, so maybe they can use those to pick up all of the garbage that the recycling is supposed to take care of. I remember that conversation, Jeff. I remember when they first got those. That was what was it? It was the clumsiest money grab I'd ever seen from the guy that was in charge of the EPA at the time, who really wanted to be a senator. Really wanted to be a senator. Didn't they put him at the Department of Corrections for a while too? And so he had this brilliant idea because you're right. The actual rules and regulations for the recycling revolving fund had not been set up. So basically, you could come up with anything and say, well, we're going to buy these mayor's pickup trucks and they'll use them to support the recycling efforts in the village. Which included dropping your kids off at Carline, included picking people up at the airport, included people in the staff driving to the gas station to get themselves some hot dogs and some of those big, the frosty drinks. Plenty of those. But never actually seen them with, I don't know, like junks in the back of them. I've never seen any of that kind of thing. And there's one guy in the village not too far away from my house where I'm going, his whole front yard is all recyclable stuff. I don't see why the mayor just doesn't come and start hauling stuff from this guy's yard and taking it to the map seat.
Ray, I just think you're being overbearing in your opinion in this case. Look, they were just out running the errands in the trucks to keep the trucks running at optimal levels because you can't let them sit up and just sit there and not do anything. And you certainly don't want to put trash in them, Ray, because you get them dirty.
Yeah,
Hello.
Well, Pam Duvall writes later on in the Facebook Live, she says, Jeff Jones, you're absolutely right. And I've never seen mayors use mayor's trucks for anything except tables and chairs for parties and funerals. That's what we've gotten ourselves into. That's cool. Debbie says, our mayor rocks. I'm also biased, just saying. It's okay. Look, if you've got a mayor that you're proud of, tell the world. And maybe what we ought to think about doing here is I wouldn't mind having 3 or 4 really, really well-paid mayors. We get one up in the north and another in the south, and one that concentrates on the west side, and one that concentrates on the east side. We divide up the island that way. There'd be four areas. And roughly, about the same size, I think, as things go. And we split the resources 4 ways as opposed to 19 ways. That seems to me the better way to do this. And then we'd get, I wouldn't have a problem with paying somebody $100,000, $120,000 because they're in charge of everything north of the Micronesia Mall or everything to the east side of the Micronesia Mall. Everything back road and et cetera, where there's a whole lot more people living these days than there used to be. When was the last time you were up there? We got to find a way to slice this thing. 19 is too many. 2 or 3 is probably too small. But maybe something like on the order of 4 people in that run things for the mayors. Speaking of mayors, haven't really had a chance to talk about this, but I think it's important to see if we can follow up on what's going on with Mayor Blas. That is the embattled mayor of the beautiful village of Zotnia. Yes, Zotnia rules, but nobody is ruling Zotnia right now because your mayor is in the jail. You got at least one resident that is going to start the process, if he hasn't already, of running around the village finding 918 people to sign off on his petition.
Wow. What a process.
It got to be tricky, though, because everybody's related. I mean,
yeah, and the only practical way to pull off something like that is to either do it at a street corner or like at a grocery store or something like that. And then, of course, you're going to have family members running up saying, hey, man, why are you messing with my brother like that?
Yeah, he's innocent. Why are you doing this? Just wait out the trial, man. What's the rush? And so I think that might be a little bit tricky for them. And if I was the mayor, we talked about this a little bit earlier, if I was the guy sitting in a jail cell, getting my 3 squares from a bunch of guys with FBI jackets that are watching my every move and monitoring my every communication, I would say that I am not up to the task of being the mayor right now. And if guilty, fine, maybe. But if I'm innocent, then I get to walk around and say, I told you I was innocent from the whole time. But to make the guilty or innocent, to make the neighborhood, to make the village go through what they're going through right now, seems to me that the smart thing would be to back down. And if you are found innocent, if it goes through the courts and you by some miracle are found innocent, even after all of the testimony, that just stuff we've heard, if all of that turns out to be true, but if it turns out not to be true and you are found innocent, then you could probably run for governor in this town and say, see, the federalists, man, it's the man trying to keep us down. And you'd be able to spin up enough political vinegar and so much political goodwill, you might actually get elected to a much higher office than the mayors. Now, whether you could take a cut in pay, I don't know. Well, I don't know about that kind of thing because this guy's making some stratospheric money. 888-8255 is the telephone number. I'm glad you're having a good time on the Facebook, blowing it out of proportion. What? Hey, we are your exaggeration station. Just ask Adelup.
It's really very sensitive information.
Mm-hmm. I'm exaggerating. They can't scratch the paint job, says Nate Horn. We're not putting white goods in the back of my blue truck. Get out of here with that noise. It's 10 away from the top of the hour. Yeah, there's some interesting conversations going on. Somebody, it's my sister. I got the feeling wants either Ken or myself, both of us maybe, to go through all 15 members of the legislature, just name them. And ask out loud, do you think that they would have a chance at getting reelected if the election were held today, based on their record, based on their adherence to their campaign platform, all of the crap they said they were going to do? You remember we did the broadcast, where were we, at the Micronesia Mall? We
That's
did two
right.
of them.
Did two of them. Yeah.
Two broadcasts, and talked to virtually every single one of these candidates. And, you know, I know what BS is when I hear it. But, you know, I got these guys in front of me. I'm not going to call them on BS, right? I just kind of do that thing with my voice, roll my eyes with my voice, and hopefully everybody picks up on the code. Oh, here this comes again. Oh, for the children? Is it for the children? And the finishing, I'm humbly asking for don't humbly ask for anything. You want my vote, you come and seek me out and tell me what it is that you're going to do that you think deserves one of my votes. I can vote 15 people in the general election. Since I was 18 years old, in my very first ever time out as a voter, I've never voted for any more than about 6. I've never voted for any more than about 6, because it just seems to me that you start looking at some of these names, and I will admit, in the most recent elections that I've had since I've been doing talk radio, I will admit to having put down a vote for candidates that I believed were good for talk radio, not necessarily good for Guam. I'm sorry. But I gotta look after my own remit, right? I gotta see to my own devices, and so there are people that I've put down. I've given them a vote just because I know that they're going to be lightning rods for attention, one way or the other. And you can define that any way you like to. So there's that. I maybe not now because it's 9:51. Maybe I'll get to it earlier in the program tomorrow, where I'll do that. I'll just go through all 15 members of the legislature, and you know, maybe we can riff. You and I, it'd be fun. You and I did this with somebody at not that long ago, and just sat down. We went through the legislature, not all 15 of them, because one of the people I was talking to was actually from the legislature. But you know, we went through and, you know, thinking in purely strategic terms, whether this person would survive re-election, number one, and number two, would it necessarily be a bad thing if they survive the re-election, and not necessarily for their party. You know, it's sometimes your party needs an idiot from the other party to make your guys look good. So it's not like you can get rid of all of them. Yeah, it's all but maybe 6 are full of taki toru. Yeah, it's like that. But you know, we got to figure out which 6 we got to keep is the thing. Anyway, 9:52. My producer's looking at me like, that's enough. Just stop, so we can play some commercials and pay some bills. All right, let's do that.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 960 869-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. Because I came out that way, that's the only way I can describe it. Jimmy, we got Jim Moylan on the radio earlier today. We were talking about that get-together he's going to have. 12/12 at 6 at the Senior Citizen Center up in Dayton is going to be another public forum. Now, I was joking with him. I said, why do we need a public forum on safety? The governor over the weekend said that they're going to come out with a plan. Where is it? One of the newspapers had it. Is it this one? No. That one? No. It's in here somewhere. One of the newspapers is where the governor, there it is, Sunday News. Adelup to unveil steps to improve public safety. Well, if they're working on that over in the governor's office, Jimmy, you don't need to have any more of these public safety roundtables and town halls in the community. We'll just wait out what it is the brain trust over at Adelup is going to have to improve public safety. Now, I want to see this plan. And it's not that I don't have any confidence that they got the capabilities to put together a pretty good plan for public safety. They don't. It's just that I don't know how they're going to make things any safer in the village if we can't make them safer for the guys at the Department of Corrections. Daily Post did a FOIA, wanted to find out how many officers have gotten bashed by the inmates over the year. And apparently, just since April, 4 DOC officers have been assaulted. So, I mean, how safe can they make the community if they can't make even the prison safe? It wasn't that long ago that there was one of the judges, I want to say it was either Sokola or Francis Tydenko Gatewood, that was squeamish about sending one of these drug users to the Department of Corrections. It must have been Sokola or somebody, because they said you're likely to continue to engage in your drug activity in prison. Just as likely to engage in prison as you are out in the streets. So we might as well keep you out in the streets or see if we can stick you in some kind of recovery program. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. That's the thing about it. I actually had an interesting magistrate report, and it was interesting to me, and I'll tell you why. Because these kids were nabbed as part of, I want to say that they used the Neighborhood Watch, on a WhatsApp chat. November 28th, about 2:05 in the afternoon, cops responded to a retail theft at the KNS Laundromat in Agana Heights. At the time, officers were informed that the suspect vehicle was parked there. The officers were informed the ones responsible for the retail theft that actually occurred at H store were seen getting into the above vehicle and fled from the scene. The occupants of the vehicle were seen exiting it and fleeing when it was parked. The vehicle was earlier the subject of a suspicious vehicle in a neighborhood WhatsApp chat. It was through the chat the vehicle was located at the laundromat. So, Agana Heights Neighborhood Watch WhatsApp chat, congratulations. You nailed a couple of guys. And they went on to report. Now, what happened was is these kids went into the H store, apparently, and tried to steal beer. 12 packs of beer, 2 Bud Light, and 1 natural ice. The guy at the front counter said, "Do you have any identification?" One of the males shouted, "Yes, we have ID." 2 of them split, carrying the 12 packs of beer out the door.
Bud Light, no less. Jeez.
The reporting person saw them run to the above vehicle, and so what they eventually ended up with was 3 highlights of their community. I'm sure they're making all of their fellow islanders